Sports Channel presents New York Yankees baseball. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By your Tri-State Toyota dealers who invite you to come in and test drive a Toyota and ride with the best. By the Wiz. For everything in home entertainment, nobody beats the Wiz. By Empire Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Because when you need the best, you deserve the best. And by Dodge. For 1988, it's gotta be a Dodge.
From Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, Sports Channel presents New York Yankees baseball. Tonight, the Bronx Bombers versus the Boston Red Sox. Hi, everybody, and welcome to beautiful Yankee Stadium. I'm Ken Harrelson along with Bobby Mercer. As the Yankees get set to conclude this three-game series against Boston, this will be the rubber match. In the opener on Monday, it was the Red Sox by a score of 3-2. Then the Yankees last night 4-3. And Bobby, tonight, quite a contrast. 45-year-old veteran southpaw Tommy John, who has pitched so well in 6 of his last 7 starts. And he will be opposed by a right-hander who is 20 years his junior, Roger Clemens.
And Roger Clemens, the 2-time Cy Young Award winner. Tommy John with the sinker ball will try to get these Boston Red Sox right-handed hitters to pull the ball on the ground and not hit the ball to right field. Roger Clemens, on the other hand, nothing tricky about him. He just comes in with a 95-mile-an-hour heat up about right in this area. And Roger Clemens, of course, is one of the, if not the best pitcher in the major leagues today.
And bad news in one respect for the Yankees is Roger Clemens on the road this year, 6-0. So tonight, Tommy John against Clemens, and Mercer will be back to give you the rest of the starting lineups right after this.
Round of lights here?
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Let me know when you're ready for another round.
Because everything else is just a light.
Why, right now is a great time to buy a new Toyota.
Money. My new Corolla only cost me about $85 this year for routine maintenance.
And right now, your Toyota dealer is making Toyota more attractive than ever.
Power. I got the most powerful front-wheel drive car under $10,000 in America.
It's all happening right now at your Toyota dealer. Money-saving deals that make sense for you, but you gotta go see him. So you'll want to ride with the best? Then head to your Toyota dealer right now.
Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome.
To all kinds of people,
So fresh.
Sunday means starting the week with the New York Times.
What would you say to a Caribbean cruise?
The Sunday Times is an event to be shared
Want to go for a drive?
and savored.
Stores don't open till noon.
It's a treat for the mind and a feast for the eye.
Sunday
The
blank.
Sunday Times makes the world a little more understandable,
Driver?
a little more entertaining.
Sunday brunch.
The New York Times, it adds life to your life. For home delivery, call 1-800-631-2500.
There are muffler shops all over town that want your business. But you know what? Nobody beats Midas. Mr. Mullen here went looking all over for a muffler shop that had the know-how to get him in and out fast. He could have saved himself a lot of time if he came here first. At Midas, we do almost 5 million exhaust jobs a year. We can usually get you in and out in less than an hour, no matter what kind of car you have. Hey, we invented this business over 30 years ago. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
And crowned by good with brotherhood from sea, oh, shining sea.
Bob Merrill, can he do it or not? As we are about to get ready for the final game of this three-game series, the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. Boston has won one, and the New York Yankees have won one. In fact, the Yankees rallied from a 3-0 first inning deficit last night, scoring 4 runs in the second inning. And Charles Hudson gets the win, and Galante came in and did a fantastic job to pick up the save. We'll take a look at the lineups tonight. First of all, for the visiting Boston Red Sox, you see that Wade Boggs leads it off, and he will be playing third base. Marty Barrett batting second at second base. Ellis Burks, the fine young rookie youngster out in center field, batting third. Dwight Evans in a cleanup spot at first base tonight. Mike Greenwell will be the designated hitter, batting fifth. And Jim Rice, who has really been struggling, he will be playing left field and batting sixth. Rick Cerrone is behind the plate, catching Roger Clemens this evening. And Rick Cerrone will bat in the seventh position. Kevin Romine, who has just been called up, I think either Saturday or Sunday, he will be playing in right field, batting eighth. And Spike Owen, the shortstop, batting ninth. Roger Clemens on the mound, and what a pitcher he is. Two-time Cy Young Award winner. Leads the American League in ERA 1.78. Strikeouts 125. That's nothing new. Shutouts 5 and innings pitched. I tell you what, Roger Clemens can do it all, and it should be an exciting ball game tonight. We'll take a look at the Yankee lineup. Leading off, Ricky Henderson. What a play he made in left field last night. He saved the Yankees a win, and Ricky threw the Ellis Burke out at home plate. Batting second, Willie Randolph at second base. Claudell Washington plays center field and bats third. Jack Clark in the cleanup spot, the designated hitter. Mike Pagliarulo at third base, batting fifth, and Dave Winfield batting sixth, playing right field. Jose Cruz, the designated hitter, batting seventh. Rafael Santana, the eighth batter, at shortstop, and Joe Skinner, the catcher, batting ninth. And as you see, TJ is taking his warm-up tosses now with a record of 4-1, 3.47 unrun average. This is his 11th start, and you can see TJ has had a little bit of a problem with these Boston Red Sox. But tonight, TJ will be doing his same old thing, trying to get the Boston right-handed hitter to hit the ball on the ground as he seeks that ball down and away from him. Take a look at the men in the blue. Behind home plate, Jim McKeon. At first base, Mike Riley. At second base, John Shulock. And at third base, Mark Johnson. We're about ready to get underway, and here to tell you all about it is the Hawk Kid Harrelson.
Thank you very much, Bobby. And once again, good evening, everyone. So happy you could join us on what is turning out to be just a beautiful evening here at Yankee Stadium. Southpaw Tommy John making his 11th start of the year in his 12th appearance. Won his last start over Baltimore. He and Cecilio Guante combined for a 4-0 shutout. He went 7 2/3 in that game. He is pitching well. Here's Wade Boggs. Takes a strike. Boggs hitting .358, 1 homer, 16 RBIs. Lifetime .354 hitter in the major leagues. As Tommy coming up with a little bit of a lollipop. Misses, and the count evens at 1. Outfield straight away. As there's a base hit right in the hole by Pagliarulo. So Boggs gets things started. Thus far, that makes his 6th hit in this series. Check out the Yankees for you defensively. In the outfield, it'll be Henderson in left. Claudell Washington in center, Winfield in right. Around the horn, Jack Clark making his 2nd start at first. Randolph at second, Santana the shortstop, Pags at third, and a battery of Skinner and Tommy John. You see lifetime 8 for 14.
Wonder what he had to eat.
Yes. Here's Marty Barrett. He's going to do something with that bat. As he tried right there, the two-way bunt. He can hit and run. Really has just about as good a bat control, Bobby, as anybody in this league for doing things of that nature.
I think you kind of see the type of game that John McNamara is going to play tonight. He knows that Roger Clemens is on the mound. He has an ERA of 1.78, and he wants to get that run across because with his big ace out on the mound, he'll take the lead anytime.
As we mentioned at the top, Clemens this year 6-0 on the road. Also has 3 shutouts on the road. He has been something. His road ERA is 0.87. There's the bunt. TJ will take his time. Over to Clark, so the sacrifice 1-3. Boggs in the second. And that's what you do. That's no different than taking a ball club, for an example, and tailoring it to your ball heart, so to speak. You take each and every individual game, and you tailor that to who you have on the mound. You don't have to have a whole bunch of big innings for Roger Clemens.
Well, You only have to have 2 runs with that ERA.
According to those numbers, you're right. You get 2 and that's it. Of course, we do recall last year when the Red Sox, after an inning and a half, led it 9-0 with Clemens on the mound, and the Yankees came back and won it. Here's Ellis Burks. Burks on a 15-game hitting streak. That's his personal best. Burks hitting at .331, 4 homers, 17 RBIs. Thus far, he is 2 for 7 in the series. That sinker outside, and the count 2-0.
Well, he is an outstanding-looking young player. I'll tell you, he can play the outfield. He has speed, and you can see what he's hitting, .331 coming into this ball game. So there's absolutely no doubt about this kid becoming a star.
Chases a bad pitch right there, and the count 2-1. Burks nursing even in this hitting streak, nursing a sore left wrist, and I think he injured it much the same way that Willie Randolph did. Only he did his at third rather than second. You can see the ramping on 23 years old. Outfield, for the most part, straight away. Comebacker, he'll hold Boggs at second base. Over to Jackson, and 2 gone.
Well, you can see right there the style that Tommy John will feature against these right-handed hitters. Sinking that ball low and away, and he just wants those guys to reach out there and pop it on the ground. Typical Tommy John, the ball is basically out of the strike zone, but he gets Burks to nibble and take a swing at it and pops the ball right back at him.
Burks helping Tommy John out in that at-bat on that 2-0 pitch, going after a bad one. All of a sudden now you get that count 2-1, and as you mentioned, that is vintage 25 right there. Here's a cleanup hitter, the first baseman, Dwight Evans. He's been hitting the ball hard lately. He's hitting 18 of his last 19 ball games. See the numbers on Dwight up to 305. Tommy tries to backdoor him with a breaking pitch, misses, and the count 1-0. Dwight, 36-year-old veteran. He has covered some right field in his time, Merce.
He's outstanding out there. Now, they've taken him out of his position a little bit this year, playing him at first base. I think he's no doubt much better in the right field than at first base, and I think it's reflecting on Dwight Evans and his ball club with Evans having to play first base instead of right field. He's just been like a solid rock out there to take a guy that's been so solid.
There's the strike on the outside corner, and the count 2-1. Well, the thing about Evans is that he has saved the Red Sox so many runs over the course of the years with his outstanding defensive play, because playing right field in Fenway Park, which is the toughest right field in the American League to do, it's imperative you have somebody who can do it, cover it like he did. A change-up in and over. Evans just froze on it, and the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Of course, I think some of the Red Sox thinking is that they want to give Evans another possible year or 2 on his career. Tommy, not in sync right there, steps off. Now he and Skinner want to have a little chat. You get a couple of veterans like Boggs and Evans out there, and if you just go through your normal signs, your sequence, chances are Boggs possibly, just possibly, to be picking him up, relaying him to Dwight Evans. Misses the inside corner. And the count goes full. So with the designated hitter, the left-handed hitter, Mike Greenwell on deck. Even though he is no slouch, Tommy still in this situation has a little room to make a good pitch. He gets that one up, hit into right field. Boggs rounding third base as Winfield bobbles it. Boggs scores, and the Red Sox take a 1-0 lead.
Well, the sacrifice works as Tommy John put the ball up in the strike zone, and Evans just serves it out into right field. Now, if Winfield had come up with that ball cleanly, he would have had a shot at Boggs at home. And that just goes to show you that Winnie had to hustle on that, and he was coming full force, and he just couldn't hold on to it.
Right, well, that was do or die.
Do or die play.
He's got to charge it hard, try to come up with it, and throw all in the same motion. So Tommy John makes a bad pitch right there. Hangs a breaking ball to Evans. And here's the designated hitter, Mike Greenwell, hitting at .298, 7 homers, 35 RBIs. Takes it up and in. Drove in all 3 Red Sox runs in the opener on Monday. Mike just 24 years old, out of Louisville, Kentucky. Outfield straightaway he'll use the whole park, as Jim McKean says down low, and the count 2-0. Red Sox coming in with a record of 26-27, 9 games back in 5th place in the East. Yankees, of course, with their mark of 36-19, 17 games over. They're still just a game and a half ahead of the Cleveland Indians. There's a 1-hopper to Clark. That'll do it. So, indeed, the bad pitch to Dwight Evans cost Tommy John, but the Red Sox come up with a run on 2 hits, no errors, a man left, and after a half inning of play, it's Boston 1, the Yankees coming up.
Deal.
Did someone say deal? Your Dodge dealer has hot numbers and big rebates on almost everything in stock. Get up to $1,500 cash back on cars. Up to $1,000 on trucks. Great deals on caravans, too. So if you want a great deal, hey!
Well, are you going to deal?
Did somebody say deal?
Hey, Herbert Fisher. Have you met Herb Grant?
Herb Grant, Tacoma.
Herb's in the plumbing business.
Yeah, I'm all backed up.
Herb, you know these bums? Herb Riddick, Herb Kaplan.
Hi.
So, the wife and kids are good? Herb Jr.'s almost 12. Whoa, next thing you know, there'll be a Herbert Jr. Jr.
If it's out there, it's in here. The 9X Yellow Pages. Why would anyone need another?
In the beginning, the Whiz was a dream. We had a small store and some big ideas, and a man whose principles were our inspiration. We always deal honestly with our customers. We guarantee the lowest prices and the highest quality. We demand perfection in our stores, of our salespeople, and our products. Integrity, customer satisfaction, excellence. It's why we can say nobody beats the Whiz.
Red Sox on top, 1-0, bottom of the first. Let's check out Boston for you defensively. In the outfield, from left to right, it'll be Rice, Burks, and Romine. Around the horn at first, Evans, Barrett at second base, Spico in the shortstop, Wade Boggs at the hot corner, and the battery of Rick Cerrone and the 25-year-old right-hander out of Katy, Texas, Roger Clemens, 6'4", 220 pounds, making his 14th start of the year. If you missed the pregame interview with the skipper, John McNamara, he is working on just 3 days rest. Last time out against the Blue Jays, he went 7 innings. Gave up just 4 hits, 3 runs, 1 earned run. He took the loss in that game, did not walk anybody, and had 9 strikeouts. As we mentioned earlier, Clemens 6-0 on the road this year with 3 shutouts. And against Roger Clemens, the opposition this year is hitting just 173. Right-handers at 108, and the left-handers at 221. So this is one of those games, Bobby, where the right-handers say, come on, you left-handed hitter.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been down there before when I said, come on, you right-handed hitters, when a tough left-hander was out on the mound. But I know exactly how everybody feels, especially from the right side. The only thing about Roger Clemens, he's going to come right at you. I mean, he will not mess around with you. He'll basically feature the fastball and the slider. And all you got to do is just try to gear it up a notch or two and hope you make contact.
And what makes it so tough is the fact that he will throw strikes. It'll be Henderson, Randolph, and Washington. Ricky hitting at .324 homers, 26 RBIs, and he is 1 for 6 thus far in the first 2 games. Roger Clemens, 2-time Cy Young Award winner, already just 25. Outfield playing Henderson straight away. It's Clemens. Fastball up and in, and the count 1-0.
Well, I actually think that John McNamara, the skipper, we heard him say that everybody is working on 3 days rest, and he arranged his rotation so that the Yankees would see the top 3. That pitch is up high. It's 2-0 now. But I kind of get the feeling that McNamara is saying, hey, this may be the pennant for us. I mean,
maybe his job for him.
Well, it may be his job, too, but that's, even though it's early in the season, McNamara needs these wins.
Well, I think he stated, again, in case you did not see our pregame interview with the skipper, there he is, Johnny Mack, with our colleague Ed Randall. This is indeed, being 9 games back, it is a swing of 2 when you're playing the divisional leader. They have to try to show some competitive spirit, so to speak. And I don't think it can be faulted for pitching these guys with 3 days rest against the Yankees, as that's up high in the count 3-1.
I don't think anybody is faulting him. I think it's just the fact that his attitude now, even though the Yankees are playing in their 56th game, that he says it may be now or never for him and the Boston Red Sox.
Well, there'll be some people, according to the outcome of this game tonight, and you know that's the way it always goes. When you pitch some guys, there's a shot off Clemens. Boggs picks it up, quick toss handed over to first in time. So now Roger Clemens, he took the brunt of that.
Looked like he hit him right in the back, in the lower back, right in the middle of the lower back. And you can tell that looks like Roger Clemens is hurt. Take a look at this shot off the bat of Ricky Henderson, and maybe it caught him on the left hip.
Man, I got him right in the right place, right in the fanny.
Yeah. I thought maybe it caught him right off the tailbone. No, you can see on the right hip as he tries to turn away from that line drive. Well, if you're going to be hit any place, that's the place to be hit, right?
Right in the butt.
There's a lot of cushion there, supposedly. I know on me there's a lot of cushion there.
Yours is matter soft. His is hard.
Yeah, right.
It's been better for us.
I'm surprised Roger didn't pick the ball up and check it to see if it was all right.
He's a horse, former defensive end out of the University of Texas.
All it turns out is a big out for Ricky Henderson.
And a sore fanny for Clemens. Here's Willie Randolph. Willie 1 for 7 in the first 2 games as he takes the strike. Fastball and the count 0-1. That's into right field, playable. Kevin Romine just called up Sunday from Pawtucket. And there's 2 gone. But getting back to what we were talking about, changing the rotation a bit. I'll tell you, it's amazing how many times, if it works, everybody says, boy, Mac, you're great, genius. You were right. But if they lose 2 out of 3, and then all of a sudden the club falters just a shade, they go back and they point the finger right here. You pitched him out of rotation. You shouldn't have done it, and we're going to fire you.
I think they're pretty much pointing the finger at John McNamara anyway. That's what I've been hearing around the league and also from some of the top brass in that Boston Red Sox organization.
Claudel can't find it up there. That's a no-no against Clemens. Against Clemens, the first thing you got to do as a hitter is make him get it down. Oh, 2 to Washington. Outfield still playing him to pull as he pops this one up left side. Boggs over by the tarp. Now has room and misjudges the ball.
Boggs, he has plenty of room, and he gets to that point right by the tarp. And he just got out of position a little bit, and he couldn't make the move because of the tarpaulin was in his way. He could have moved alongside of that.
You know where he lost it right there? He's more or less skated over, and rather than getting over there in a hurry, finding out where he was. As that's on the outside corner, call strike 3. So a 1-2-3 inning for Clemens, and after 1, Red Sox lead it 1-0.
TWA kept something in mind when we made our 747 business class seat the widest in the sky. People sometimes cross their legs.
After all those meetings in Minneapolis and conventions in Kansas City, we think you could use a little change of pace. And after 40,000 miles in TWA's frequent flyer program, that's just what you get. Today's TWA, Find out how good we really are.
When Mid-Atlantic was small, hungry bankers were tough on shoes. We were always out looking for new opportunities, for ways to meet customers' needs. The more Mid-Atlantic grew, the more people expected hungry bankers to go that extra mile. It wasn't easy, but it paid off. Today, Mid-Atlantic's a top-ranked super regional, offering complete banking services. Some people think we should relax. They must be kidding.
Sir, would you choose chicken sandwich A that Wendy's makes from whole breast fillets, or B that's made from different chicken parts all chopped up and squeezed together?
B, because in one bite of that mashed up sandwich, I can get a whole chicken. It says chicken, isn't it?
We give you a whole breast fillet at Wendy's, where you get the best burgers in the business and a whole lot more.
We take our great chicken sandwich, add crisp bacon, add fresh lettuce, add tomato and mayonnaise, and then we say, welcome to the club, Wendy's Chicken Club.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees as intended for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Yankees and Sports Channel is prohibited.
Top of the second inning. Red Sox lead it 1-0. It'll be Rice, Cerrone, and Romine to face the left-hander Tommy John.
You were going to say something there. Rice, Cerrone.
Romani. Look at the numbers on Rice. No home runs. And that's in 170 plus at bats this year. 1-1 to count. This is the first time we've, of course, had a chance to see Rice at the plate, because that's on the inside corner. Talking with some Boston people prior to the game. They say he's just got himself all locked up with his hips at the plate, hitting across his body. And that's one reason he has not been able to drive the ball the way he's capable. That curveball misses a little low, and the count 2-2.
Pitch prior to the curveball that Tommy John just threw in there that was called strike was on the inside corner and up a little bit. Rice has a blind spot in there. I'm not sure that he can see the ball in there that well. He's had that problem for 4 or 5 years that I've noticed, and he flinches. If you'll watch him, he'll flinch a little bit every time the ball is thrown inside. I don't care if it's just off the corner a little bit.
That's ball 4. Well, one thing about Rice is the fact that sure he has. That has been his hole. That's where he has been vulnerable. But he has compensated for that because of the fact that if you tried to get in there and you missed out a little bit, then in the past he has really done some damage. Now he is not doing that damage. But here's a guy who's been a very pleasant surprise for the Red Sox, Rick Cerrone. Cerrone hitting .347, 2 homers, 9 RBIs. In his last 16 ball games, hitting at .356. Misses with a breaking pitch. Check the slate of action around the American League for you. Toronto at Cleveland. Tigers take on the Orioles in Baltimore. Minnesota at Chicago. California will be down at Arlington Stadium in Texas. A's take on Kansas City, who have shut out Oakland the first 2 games of that series. Milwaukee at Seattle. That changeup hit out of play right side. Over in the National League, Philadelphia takes on the Expos up in Canada. The Mets are at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The Cubbies at Pittsburgh. Cincinnati will play the Padres out on the coast. Houston at Los Angeles. And Atlanta will take on the Giants at Candlestick. One pitch to Cerrone. A little change outside. We'll count 2 balls and a strike.
I actually think that Rick Cerrone got caught in a catch-22 situation out of spring training. They had Skinner and they had Don Slott. Rick Cerrone, they had to pick 2 of the 3. And it was just a numbers game, actually, that got Cerrone.
That's back to the middle, base hit. Right by Tommy John, as Rice will stop at second. So the Red Sox, after scoring 1 in the first, come out here, the first 2 men on in the top of the second.
Of course, Rick Cerrone got his shot when Rich Gedman went down on the disabled list, and they had to have an extra catcher. They didn't want to go with a youngster, so Cerrone was available, and they gave him a shot. Cerrone's done a heck of a job for John McNamara and the Boston Red Sox. More than they expected.
Oh, everything they've gotten out of him has just been a bonus.
You bet.
Right there was a ball that Tommy John, though, could have possibly knocked down or made the play on. That'll bring up the right fielder, Kevin Romine. Romine just 2 for 10 since being called up from Pawtucket, as we mentioned last Sunday. 27-year-old outfielder out of Exeter, New Hampshire. There's a bunt going foul down the third baseline. So Romine trying to really play it fine. And the count 0-1.
And you can see the Boston Red Sox, John McNamara, playing it by the numbers right now. Fundamental baseball with Roger Clemens on the mound. 1, 2, 1 at a time, 2 at a time. He doesn't care. He just wants to get them in position so they get a chance to drive them in. The long ball is gone as far as the Boston Red Sox are concerned through the first 56 or 57 ball games. They just cannot find the home run stroke. They are last in the American League as home runs are concerned as far as the team.
26 is a club. Whereas the bunt takes the fastball up high and the count evens at 1. But they are leading the league in hitting at 278. It's been an enigma at Fenway Park.
Well, you look
26 home runs.
Yeah, you look at it, and this is a power club. I mean, it's always been a power club.
There's the bunt. This a little better as he kills it. Gotta hurry. Not in time. Boy, that bunt, he put a little juice on it, a little English on it, got out there and just died in the grass. Bases loaded, nobody out.
That was almost an L-wedge type of bunt. Watch Romine. He just lays her out there and the spin, the top spin on it, and just dies before Joel Skinner can pick it up and throw him out. Perfect bunt by Romine. Bases loaded, nobody out, and the Red Sox are big threatening at this point.
An excellent bunt by Kevin Romine. And that'll bring up the switch hitting shortstop, Spike Owen. Owen hit a .230, 3 homers, 9 RBIs. Yankees with the corners in. Santana and Randolph looking for a pair. Outfield straight away, spread out. Fastball outside. Count 1-1. Right-hander Steve Shields starting to loosen up. Tommy walking around the mound like he might be ouchy or hurting in some spot.
Well, you know, we failed to mention, too, that Tommy John is not a good fielder as far as the bunt is concerned. He is vulnerable to the bunt. To go along with Roger Clemens pitching with that 1.78 earned run average.
Got him to chase a bad pitch. Good sinker.
We got a little note over the wire, Hawk, that the 690 Reds have traded left-handed pitcher Dennis Rasmussen to the San Diego Padres. A rookie right-hander relief pitcher Candy Sierra. Rasmussen back with the club that he was with once before, the San Diego Padres.
A ball and 2 strike to Owen. Should be a pair. Santana, Randolph, rack him up. Rice scores, and the Red Sox lead it 2-0.
The pitcher's best friend, especially when the bases are loaded, nobody out. And Santana, Willie Randolph can turn the double play with the best of them. Art Fowler now, the pitching coach, is on his way to the pitching mound. I think he wants to talk to Tommy. Tommy, as you mentioned, is walking around the pitcher's portion of the baseball diamond, and he looks like that he's bothered by something. He may be either sick or he may have hurt himself on a try for one of those bunts. He is now talking to Art Fowler, and he's worried about something. Something is going on that's bothering him. It's thrown him out of his rotation a little bit. There he goes again.
And his demeanor to Fowler, it looked like he was upset with something that had happened, but yet his demeanor out on the mound is one that he's hurting someplace. Meanwhile, 2 out with Cerrone at third, and that'll bring up Wade Boggs. Boggs single last inning and scored the first Boston run. I don't know, you just get the feeling from up here he's upset with Skinner.
Yeah, it looks like that he's walking around like a caged polar bear.
Low and away in the count 1-0. 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors for Boston. A 1-2-3 inning for Clemens in the Yankee first. 2-0 the count. And they're just going to put Wade Boggs on and get to Marty Barrett. Barrett, a feisty little guy. And even though you're talking about Wade Boggs, that'll get his juice flowing a little bit harder. So the intentional walk to Boggs puts runners at the corners with 2 gone. And here's Barrett. He had a sacrifice bunt last inning. Barrett is a competitor. And I don't care what the name of the guy is in front of you. That'll get that macho up when they put somebody on, especially a left-handed hitter to the left-handed pitcher.
Well, Marty Barrett's the kind of guy, he has plenty of bat control. He knows how to play this game. He has a lot of baseball savvy. Can hit the ball to the right side, can pull the ball. Got a good idea every time he goes to plate what he wants to do.
Lays off the sinker. And there's the pitch that Tommy hopes to get these Red Sox hitters to chase a little bit. He's been successful in a couple of instances. That's on the corner. Barrett doesn't particularly care for it, and the count evens at 1. Crew chief Jim McKean behind the plate. Barrett's had pretty good success against TJ, 5 for 8. Bit of a gap between Henderson and Washington. Tommy staying right out there, misses. 2 balls and a strike. Short lead by Boggs. As a chopper to the hopper. Easy play for Santana. So the intentional pass to Boggs gets the job done. That'll do it. Red Sox come up with a run on 2 hits. No errors, 2 men left, and after an inning and a half, they lead the Bronx Bombers 2-0.
In the beginning, the Wiz was a dream. We had a small store and some big ideas, and a man whose principles were our inspiration. We always deal honestly with our customers. We guarantee the lowest prices and the highest quality. We demand perfection in our stores, of our salespeople, and our products. Integrity, customer satisfaction, excellence. It's why we can say nobody beats the Wiz.
It's never chic to have outdated telephone equipment, so we turn to the latest line in phone systems. With Tel Plus, we're always in style.
Our tenants demand a communication system that towers above all the rest. Tel Plus is our blueprint for success.
This college is a city in itself, linked by a complex voice data network. We did our homework, and Tel Plus achieved highest honors.
Call 1-800-TEL-PLUS for business telephone systems and equipment. Tel Plus, a Siemens company.
NBO has everything for the well-dressed man at 30 to 60% off. Everything except shoes. Well, maybe shoes.
Nice crowd on hand tonight, as it has turned out to be just a lovely evening here at Yankee Stadium. Prior to the game, some clouds had rolled in, looked a little ominous, but still a few up there. But certainly a lot better looking sky than it was 45 minutes ago. Red Sox on top 2-0 here in the bottom of the second. It'll be Clark, Pagliarulo, and Winfield to face Clemens. Beautiful shot. Here's Jackson making his second start at first base. Jack 2 for 6 thus far in the series. Been having some problems though. Just 7 for his last 39. good matchup. Dead fastball hitter against the best fastball in the American League. Clemens shows it to him. In and over, and the count 0-1. First time these two have had a chance to confront one another.
We'll have to wait and see what happens. The percentages are against Jack Clark.
Right. Always the first time they go to the pitcher, especially in the first AB. Gas.
Well, that's one of the things. That's the 95-mile-an-hour plus fastball that Clemens keeps upstairs in the strike zone, and that ball is the toughest ball to hit. It is moving all the time. It almost explodes once it gets to the strike zone.
The low in the count, even at 2. And the thing about Clemens as a rule, for the most part. Now, his last time out, he's pitching on 3 days rest. He went 7 innings, as we mentioned, but he only threw about 105 pitches, which is not many for him. He's a horse. And as we've seen him in the past, there's a rule in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, he throws a little harder. Jammed him right there, popped up down the right field line as Romine comes over. It'll be 2 rows back. Clemens has done so many wonderful things in his very short career. And it's unusual in today's game, so to speak, to see a guy who is stronger in the last 3 than he is in the first 6.
Well, I think one of the reasons for that is because of an off-season weight program that he put himself on. Said he added 1/2 inch to his size.
Fastball up high, full count.
Well, that thing really exploded. Says he really feels like he's exploding towards the plate now. He'll have more velocity later on the game because he had more drive in his legs, and that's where he gets all of his power.
Well, you can see the ball take off right there on Cerrone. He's got one of those fastballs. It looks like when you're at home plate, looks like it gets about 15 feet out there, and somebody kicked it right in behind. That'll be back out of play, and the count remains full. I love confrontations like this. Love matchups. Two of the, talking about power pitcher, power hitter. Little macho involved here between the two of them. First meeting. Got him. So the second strikeout for Clemens on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and that's on our gun, which is not overrated, so to speak.
It's the slow one.
That's right. You catch that same fastball on some of the other guns we've seen and watched this year, that thing might get up to 98, 99. Here's Pags. Pags, 214, 8 homers, 40 RBIs. Can't find him. High heat with a little giddy up.
This is the time to choke up and go to a lighter bat. It wouldn't surprise me, the first 3 guys to walk back to the Yankee dugout, and the other 3 are following those 3 guys. Say, what does he have? I say, he doesn't have much.
Right. As Pags is down on 3. And that'll bring up another interesting confrontation. Dave Winfield. You can see he just breezed that one right on by Michael. Winfield, 367, 12 homers, 49 RBIs. Outfield really spread out. I'll play right side, upper tank.
The last guy I think I remember staying up in that particular zone, up in the strike zone, Denny McClain, but he didn't have the velocity that Roger Clemens has on his fastball, but basically in the same area. If you look around where the Boston emblem is, that's where he stays.
Breaking ball. Nice play by O, and he sets himself. Long peg over the first in time so far, the second inning in a row. Clemens gets rid of the Yankees, and after 2-0 Boston.
I wonder if I can get a car loan.
Oh, I wonder if they'll give me a vacation loan.
Join the Apple Bank family, and you'll never have to wonder if you can meet your financial needs. You'll get a personal family banker, free, no bounce checking, and more. Join the Apple Bank family and feel good about banking again. Come in or call Apple Bank for Savings. We're good for you.
To anyone who's ever survived a boring meeting by humming a great rock and roll tune, or who owned a CD player back when CD meant certificate of deposit, there's WNEW-FM, the rock station that for 20 years has shared your priorities.
Hey! Turn it up! Yeah, that's better.
WNEW-FM, 1027, from classic rock to the cutting edge.
Do you know how big the Nassau Coliseum is? 4 acres. Now try to imagine it packed with the best imported and domestic cars on the market. Welcome to Woodbury Chrysler Plymouth Isuzu. 4 acres on Jericho Turnpike in Syosset. Here's where you'll find the selection that you've been imagining with prices that will amaze you. Pick from our huge inventory. From Chrysler's LeBaron to Plymouth's Horizon and Isuzu's Trooper. Woodbury Chrysler Plymouth Isuzu. The price you pay is the only small thing about us.
Top of the third inning, Red Sox lead it 2-0. I want to send our congratulations out to Bob Quinn, who has today been promoted to Vice President and General Manager of the New York Yankees, announced by Yankee owner George Steinbrenner. Quinn, of course, previously served as the club's Vice President of Baseball Administration. Lou Piniella indeed will stay with the organization. He will remain as a Vice President, and his role, his job description, going to be a little bit different now. He's going to be, for the most part, evaluating talent, major and minor league. So our congratulations to Bob Quinn. Ellis Burks will lead off the Boston third. Tommy John with a change. Burks hit a comebacker back in the first inning to Tommy. 2 runs on 4 hits for the Red Sox. And Clemens has retired the first 6 Yankees in order. Arthroscopic surgery. Latter part of spring training, missed the first part of the year. That's 2 hopper to Willie. No problem. 1 gone. So a quick out to the first baseman, the cleanup hitter, Dwight Evans. Back in the first inning with Boggs on second base. 3-2 the count to Evans. He hung him a breaking ball. He hit it in the hole between first and second to knock in his 38th RBI. Sinker strike. Change down low. And as usual with Tommy, he has to stay. As all Yankee fans know, he has to stay low and away to the right-handed hitters. Even a lot of times if he gets behind in the count, because of the fact if he stays there and he's consistent and persistent with it, then the umpire is liable to give him that inch or 2 that he so desperately needs out there.
It looks so good to hit, though, that because Tommy's around the 85-mile-an-hour mark.
Santana can't get there. Like a change-up from Tommy John, so Evans makes a big turnaround first. He holds up, and Dwight 2 for 2.
It's enticing to the hitter. It's a teaser. And the ball is sinking down and away, but it's not coming in very fast. And so a lot of times the hitter just cannot help himself. It's almost like he's in a habit.
He's done it for a lot of years.
He's 45 years old. He's the oldest active major leaguer today.
Here's Mike Greenwell. He bounced out to Clark his first trip. Breaking ball. The count 1-0. Just a decent lead by Evans. As there's ball and strike. Red Sox 25 stolen bases on the year in 36 attempts. Yankees on the other side of that page, 67 stolen bases this year in 82 attempts. On the corner, that is 1-2. Evans about another half a step over there as Tommy will run it back. Crowd continues to come in. These stands have filled up in a hurry over the last 20-25 minutes. As looped out into right field. That's going to fall for a base hit. As Evans rounds second, he will get into third. Winfield follows it. As now everybody will hold. So a single by Greenwell puts runners at the corners with one out.
Nice heads-up play by Dwight Evans at first base because he saw the ball was off of the end of the bat of Greenwell. He knew it was going to fall. He made no hesitation at second base. He was on his way to third. And Winfield trying to keep an eye on Evans. Couldn't find the trigger out there. Finally he picks it up, and Evans wisely stops at third.
And that'll bring up the left fielder, Jim Rice. He walked last inning to start it off. And he scored the second Red Sox run. No home runs for this man. That is almost unbelievable. Outfield plays him straight away. Fastball high off the plate, and the count 2-0.
Well, they had the youngster Sam Horn, who was just sent back to Pawtucket, their AAA affiliate, a couple of days ago. He was a big monster. He could hit the ball. In fact, they said Fenway Park was not big enough for this youngster. He only had 2 home runs and struggling at the plate. Rice didn't have any home runs. They were the 2 designated hitters, and they only had 2 home runs out of it. Hey, you got to have a lot of base hits, even though the Boston Red Sox are leading the American League in hitting as a team. You've got to have a lot of timely hits, and that's what they haven't been getting right now.
It's hard to win a pennant going 90 feet at a time. 3-0. Watch Rice. He's liable to be going. Nope, taking all the way in the strike. Rice, for the most part, has never liked to hit 3-0. 36-year-old veteran. That's a base hit into right field. He went right with it. So Evans scores. Greenwell holds a second. And the Red Sox lead at 3-0. Steve Shields continues to heat up the Yankees down in the bullpen.
So far, the Red Sox have really had a good game plan. Right from the beginning, you'd see Rice on this 3-1 pitch. The ball's away from him. It's a good pitch by Tommy John for a 3-1, but Rice stays right with it and drills it into right field, just like that he was thinking about right field all the way and not pulling that Tommy John sinker.
Here's Rick Cerrone. Had a base hit last inning. Takes it low and inside. There it is. Top of the third against Roger Clemens. I think he's got some work to do. And again, it would be different if Clemens was a wild, hard-throwing right-hander. But he is the antithesis of that. He is a very controlled type, hard-throwing right-hander. There's a strike. 1-1 to Cerrone. Way outside, 2 balls and a strike.
Well, career-wise, Tommy John, as you take a look at Billy Martin, has had problems with the Boston Red Sox. He came into tonight's ball game career-wise 12-16 with almost a 4-point ERA against these Bo Sox. Believe it or not, back in 1984 was the last win Tommy John had against the Boston Red Sox. and it was against Roger Clemens.
I believe that was a shutout, wasn't it? 4-0?
Yeah, it was a shutout.
The 2-1 pitch. There's a base hit into center field. As Greenwell being waved around. Here's the throw by Claudell Washington. Not in time. 4-0. Boston leads it. And here comes the skipper.
The game plan by Boston so far is really beginning to take hold, and it's taken hold of Tommy John. He may be leaving this ball game. I just look at my scorecard, and there's only been one base hit to left field, and that's been against the left-handed batter Wade Boggs, who hit the ball the opposite way. Everything else has been up the middle or to right field with 3 attempted bunts and 2 sacrifices.
Well, the farthest left that a ball has been hit is to the shortstop, Santana.
Well, this call to the bullpen is brought to you by New York Telephone. And we will be back right after these messages.
Your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen.
Nothing's more New York than minding your own business.
Hi, this is Lori checking in. I got the booking. Great.
Okay, let's go to work.
Gotta go.
Okay, get the phone number. Okay, see you later.
The people of New York Telephone keep our public telephones working as hard as the people who use them.
Light on the thing.
Get street smart, because nothing's more New York than New York Telephone public phones.
From thrown bats to thrown out managers, this baseball season has been something to talk about. And Sports Channel gives you the chance to do the talking.
Everybody says that Darryl Strawberry is a great ball player, which he is. I still put my money on Don Mattingly.
Darryl does work hard, and he's got to be one of the top 2 players in all of baseball.
Join Lee Zeidman Thursday at 8 for 2 hours of excitement and controversy. Call in and be a part of Sports Channel Roundtable, live Thursday at 8.
Take a look at the replay. And that was another pretty good pitch by Tommy John, but the Boston Red Sox serving it as Rick Cerrone gets his second base hit of the evening. RBI, the throw was just not in time. And Dwight Evans, check that, Greenwell scores. And Tommy John is gone. And Steve Shields will come on to face Kevin Romine here in the top half of the 3rd inning. The Red Sox have already pushed across a couple. They now lead the Yankees 4-0. Take a look at Shields. Shields on the year is making his 10th appearance for the New York Yankees. A record of 0-2, 5.74 earned run average. And normally Shields comes into the ball game featuring a lot of breaking balls. 15 2/3 innings pitched, 18 base hits, 11 strikeouts. But the Red Sox have already built up a pretty good lead as far as the Red Sox are concerned. 4-0 with Roger Clemens on the mound. We keep harping on that, but with the way Roger Clemens is with his record, you have to almost look at it and try to look at it through blinders now, because with that 1.78 earned run average, it just you got to look at it from the Yankee side that you're in big trouble.
Well, again, the thing that could be a redeemer there for them psychologically is last year when they were behind him 9-0 and came back and won it in 10 innings. Here's Kevin Romine, the right fielder. 1 out as a strike in and over. Romine had a beautiful bunt single last inning. Rice at second, Cerrone at first. Well, you've got to think in those terms. So first, because of the fact that's exactly what John McNamara was doing, is you got your horse, that's hit into left field. It's playable. Henderson going back. And that's out number 2. But he was just playing them 90 feet at a time right there, just trying to pick up one, trying to pick up another, and all of a sudden here they get themselves a 4-run lead. The biggest comparison that I think that you could bring into a scenario of this nature is back in 1978 when Ron Guidry was on the mound, the way the opposition managed against him. They knew they were not going to have any big innings off of him, so they tried to just pick up one anytime they could. And it didn't happen that often. Of course, the Gator, 25-3. Here's Spike Owen. And they just go over to the left side of the plate. Spike into a double play. That was last inning. Four 8-0 for the Red Sox. 0-0-0 for the Yankees. Good hard sinker by Shields, and the count 0-2. Outfield very short, especially Winfield and right for Owen. There you see Claudel short, but David way in close. It's outside. Like a base hit to Winfield. Rice would not be able to score.
Well, now this is true to the power shortage, because Spike Owen does not have power. You don't expect him to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He's a slap hitter from both sides.
Plus the fact, as we mentioned, down 4-0 to Clemens, you got to take some shots defensively. Can't get the high heat, and that'll do it for the Red Sox. But they come up with 2 more on 4 hits. No errors, 2 men left. And after 2.5, they lead the Yankees 4-0. Right now, let's go back to our buddy Lee Zeidman in our studios for a Sports Channel update.
Hawk, the Orioles are up next for the Yankees. The Birds shooting for a sweep over Detroit. They're playing Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Top of the first, Detroit goes right to work on Jose Bautista. Pat Sheridan muscles this one to right field into the bleachers. 2-run dinger, and the Tigers lead 2-0. But Baltimore gets one back in the second with a man on first. Terry Kennedy lines one to right. Jim Traber was moving on the pitch. He comes all the way around to score. As the throw is way offline, that makes it a 2-1 ball game. It's now 4-1, Detroit leading top of the fourth. Cleveland chasing the Yanks and trailing Toronto 1-0 in the fourth. Yankees named Bob Quinn vice president and general manager, but Lou Piniella stays on as vice president for assessing major and minor league talent. Mets and Cardinals rubber match in St. Louis just underway. Ojeda versus De Leon. We'll send you back to the Bronx after this.
You want anything?
How about a light?
Oh, Bob.
Could you make that a Bud Light?
If you want the great taste of Bud Light, ask for it. Did you see? No. Did you? No. Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by the Tri-State Area Midas Muffler and Brake Specialists. Come on in and let us show you why nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Right-hander Roger Clemens has concluded his warm-up tosses here in the bottom of the third inning. His teammates have put 4 on the board for him. 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 here in the top of the third. For the Yankees, it'll be the lower third. Cruz, Santana, and Skinner. Clemens with 3 strikeouts thus far. All 3 of those coming in a row. Struck out Washington to end the first, and Clark and Pags to start the second. As a strike in and over. Outfield straight away for Jose Cruz. You can see the numbers on 40-year-old veteran. That's on the corner. And quickly it's 0-2. That big number 21 starts nipping corners on you. You definitely got some problems. Ball and 2 strikes.
Hawk, you were a dead fastball hitter. How would you handle a guy like Roger Clemens?
How would I handle him? I wouldn't want to try it, I'll tell you.
You mean very carefully?
No, I'll tell you. I think there's only one way you can go about him, is that's beat foul. And again, as you say, I would just stand right on top of the plate against him, that's all. I mean, right on top of the plate, trying to take his breaking ball away, because right-handed pitchers don't like to throw right-handed hitters any breaking stuff. And then at that point, you just sit dead red. You try to make it get down just a little bit. But if he does get the 3 sliders over, or 3 curveballs, and grab some bench parts, because you cannot look for both of them off Clemens. You cannot try to cover the whole plate. You have got to make up your mind which way you're going to go off him. And at that point, if you're not a power hitter, then you got to back off the plate, look for the ball out over the plate, and try to hit him right back into right center.
You believe in that theory? The harder they throw, the farther they go?
No question. Clemens throws, I'll tell you what he does throw. He throws a light ball. He's not a heavy ball pitcher, so to speak. He didn't throw that. Nothing sinking about his. I know how you don't have to ask me. I don't have to ask you, I should say. I know how you'd have handled him. You'd put that little tilt up a little bit, put a little short stroke on him.
That's the reason I asked you. Did you believe in that theory?
I'll tell you, I saw it happen several times. I saw what I consider to be the hardest thrower, certainly, that I've ever seen. And he never pitched in the big leagues. That was a left-hander named Steve Dalkowski, and I faced him quite a bit. And I saw some of the most ungodly home runs you've ever seen hit off him because he supplied all the power.
Yeah.
Crew's hanging tough. Count remains 2-2. In fact, there's only been 2 pitchers that I ever faced that caused me to choke up on the bat. Now, obviously, Dalkowski was one. And then Vida Blue back in 1969, his rookie year, when he was just awesome.
He was awesome. And Vida Blue in that year, he was one of those guys, too, that kept the ball up in the strike zone with that heat.
Change speeds on him out in front. Little pop up to Dwight Evans. And that's 7 in a row retired by Clemens.
And he will probably change speeds a little bit more off of left-handed batters than he will right-handed batters, just to keep them off balance. And he'll come right at the right-handed batters, basically with a fastball.
He does the right-handed hitter a favor if he throws him a changeup.
He threw Winfield a breaking ball, and it was basically a spinner when Winfield grounded it hard to end the inning back in the bottom of the second inning. He just got on top of it a bit.
Here's Santana. Up and in. One and one to count. Did you ever see Dalkowski throw?
No, I never did.
Mercy was unbelievable.
If he was from the left side, I am awfully glad.
No, you know what? With Dalkowski, you wouldn't have any problems. He could not throw a strike to a left-hander. He just couldn't throw a strike to a left-handed hitter. He was afraid he was going to kill somebody.
Well, why didn't everybody turn around and bat left-handed against him?
Because he had a hard enough time throwing him to right-handed. Plus, there's a gut factor involved.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, there's a big batter's box down there. You can stand
now, his ball moves by far more than any other pitcher I've ever seen. And it jumped up and in to the left-hander, of course, up and away to the right-hander. He was afraid that he was going to really hurt somebody, so he just wouldn't throw a strike to a left-hander. The only way he strike would be a slider or something.
His ball moved too much.
Yeah. Count remains 1-2. Boy, there was a sad case right there. I first met Dalkowski when he was, in fact, I was 17 years old in spring training, and he was with the Baltimore organization. And he was a confirmed alcoholic at a very young age. Another one out of play. And little guy, you know, he was not big. He was about 5'9", 5'10", about 165, 170 pounds. With a real little short wind-up, and he just flipped the ball. Of course, Yankee fans will recall, a lot of the Yankee fans will recall that Casey Stengel pulled his team off the field against Dalkowski in a spring training game. That's up high as Santana lays off of it. 2-2. Made him change pitchers. He was not going to allow, or else he was going to put in all subs. Would not allow him.
He didn't want anybody to get hurt.
That's right.
Yeah.
In his case, may possibly get maimed. A chopper. Clemens can't get it. Here comes Owen. Got to hurry in time. Nice play for the Boston shortstop.
Roger, he thought twice about this. Look at him. He thought, well, let me try to barehand it. Then he pulled his hand back wisely as he let Spike Owen take care of that out for him.
And Santana, with not a whole bunch of speed, as Owen makes a play. Here's Skinner. Joel's been doing a good job filling in for the injured Don Slott. In fact, in the 17 games that he started since Slott went out, Joel hitting at 250 over that time, and that's all Billy Martin could have hoped for. And he's knocked in some awful big runs. Breaking pitch.
Skinner saying, why me? Why me, Roger? Throw me your best breaking ball, will you?
Fastball outside, the count 1-2. Outfield playing Skinner. To hit to right. High gas, can't find it. So Clemens goes through the order, in order. And after 3, Boston leads it 4-0.
To replace him with a guy like Oquendo at third, and you're not any the poorer with Oquendo in there.
So that'll bring up Dave Magadan. Magadan starting his 6th game at first base, hitting .286 with no home runs, 4 runs batted in. Then he takes a strike. Magadan 2 for 4 in this series as you look at Oquendo, the third baseman, former Mets shortstop. He has played every position in the major leagues except the catcher's position. And he was a catcher in Little League ball, wasn't he?
Little League, yeah, in Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico.
And the fastball, 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals have a fine defensive infield with a lot of range. The only exception would be Horner at first base.
And they play very deep, too. Both Smith and Alicea, both on the outfield.
This ball tapped out towards second. Tough play for Alicea, and he can't make it. So Magadan gets an infield base hit, something the Cardinals are very good at.
And they don't give up too many. But Dave Magadan finds a seam between Alicea and Ozzie Smith, and Luis just can't make the play. Infield hit for Magadan.
And it brings up Howard Johnson. Howard 1 for 6 in this series. Batting .239 for the year with 9 home runs, 26 runs batted in. 3 of his 9 home runs against the Cardinals. And he's hitting .250 against the Cardinals this season. Johnson in his last 19 games hitting .313. He's really picked up after an extremely slow start. Magadan practically standing on first, a very short lead. And this ball hit out to right field, coming hard as Bernansky, and he makes a diving try, and he makes the catch. So Tom Bernansky with a sliding catch and a great catch to end the inning. 1 hit and 1 left to score at the end of 1/2 inning. The Mets nothing, the Cardinals coming up. Now here.
1-0. You know, I saw an interesting quote about Wade Boggs in the papers earlier this year. Pitches in there for a call strike, 1-1. It was by Ted Williams, and he was quoted as saying that the day Boggs hits 400 is the day that Wade Boggs will be voted the most valuable player. Other than that, he won't ever come in 3rd, 4th, or whatever in the MVP balloting. I thought that was kind of a strange type of thing coming from Ted Williams, and I suppose he believes that because Wade Boggs doesn't produce power, doesn't drive in a lot of runs, even though he has a high average. 2-2 now to Wade Boggs.
I have had conversations with Williams about Boggs and other hitters, of course, but no, Ted feels like that you've got to produce runs.
Get on the ground towards the right side. Easy play for Willie. And there's 1 down.
I'll tell you, he's a marvelous, just to me, the most interesting, by far the most interesting individual. In fact, that's what I used to do every day in spring training. The first thing I would do, I'd get there early and go right over and sit by his locker and wait for him to come in, and we'd sit there and we'd talk hitting for 30, 45 minutes as he was getting dressed. And he's just one of the most intriguing individuals to talk about hitting, but by far the most I've ever had the chance to talk to.
Marty Barrett takes the pitch down low, breaking ball, 1-0 to Barrett. But yes, when you talk 25 or 35 minutes with Ted Williams about hitting, he's just getting started.
Oh, he's beautiful.
Can he talk? Oh,
he's beautiful.
And he has some great theories. I wish I understood all of them. I've read a couple of his books, but I'm not smart enough to understand what he's saying.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, Bobby, as many hours as we've talked about it over the years, he's really not complicated at all. A lot of people say that. That fastball on the inside corner and the count 2-1 to Barrett. But when he talks to you one-on-one or face-to-face like that, he's not complicated. In fact, he's basically very simple.
When he was managing the Washington Senators, playing for the Yankees, one hopper hit hard to Payamula. Parker, there's 2 down. A quick story about him. He used to tell me, he said, Bobby, he would come up along the side of the batting cage as the Senators were taking batting practice, and I would walk up hoping to be able to talk to Ted Williams about hitting a little bit. And he'd look at me and he says, Mercer, he says, you've got one of the sweetest swings in the world. I don't think I've ever seen anybody with a better swing than you have. He says, but you got one little flaw.
Yeah.
As Ellis Burke steps in with 2 down, breaking ball on the outside corner for a call strike.
You got your wheels turning.
Immediately. And I said, well, Ted, what are you talking about? He said, well, you think I'm crazy? I'm not going to tell you. He said, we got a 3-game series. I don't want you going to the plate and beating me after I tell you what your flaw is. He said, I'll tell you at the end of the season. Grounded foul off the left side, 0-2. Well, we came back the last game, and he never did tell me. And I never did find out what that small flaw in my swing was.
He was just pulling your chain.
Was he?
Yeah.
Well,
I knew he would love us. He loves swings like yours.
He pulled it pretty good because he had me going.
I tell you, one thing that a lot of people don't understand about Ted Williams, he has a brilliant mind.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Ellis Burks goes down. Steve Shields, what an inning he had here. 1, 2, 3, the first time in this ball game. And at the end of 3.5 innings of play, it's the Red Sox 4, the Yankees nothing.
If you charge car rentals with the Gold Card, you're fully covered for damage, loss, and theft of the car at no extra charge. A financial benefit that is appreciated by the upwardly mobile. Reason alone to possess the Gold Card. Convention dictates you can't change travel plans after normal hours. But if you're a Gold Card member, there's American Express Envoy.
Feel it all. And the first pitch right here to Ozzie Smith is a strike. Smith batting at .288 with 1 home run, 17 runs batted in. And that pitch a ball, so the count 1-1. Ozzie lifetime against the Mets hitting .236 in spite of a .288 average this year. He has never homered against the New York Mets. And the ball hit right back to Ojeda.
We mentioned Tom Bernansky. The Cardinals are 27-15 since the trade back on April 22nd. They expected offense. They didn't expect the good defense they've gotten out of Tom. Had that ball gotten through, Magadan scores easily, and Johnson may have had an inside-the-park home run.
Bernansky on deck, probably had to change you.
30, and all youngsters 14 and under will receive a Yankee batting glove. Now on Sunday, June 26th, the Yankees host a Tribe at 1:30, and following that ball game, Citibank will present the Beach Boys live and in concert right here at the stadium. Yankee tickets are on sale now at the stadium or through Ticketmaster. So for more information, just call the Yankees at 212-293-6000.
Well, some great promotional days coming up for the New York Yankees as Ricky Henderson is coming up here in the bottom half of the 4th inning for the New York Yankees. Henderson, Randolph, and Washington, the scheduled 3 batters. And if it's any consolation to the Yankee batters, they have all seen Roger Clemens now. And Clemens has retired 9 Yankees in a row. It's 4-0 Boston. As Henderson, you see, is grounded out. He grounded out to the third baseman, Wade Boggs, back in the 1st inning. High fastball, 1-0. Yeah, Ted Williams, I tell you what, I idolized Ted Williams as far as his hitting was concerned and his theories and what have you, even though I couldn't understand most of them. That's in there for a call strike. 1-1 now to Henderson. But you have to have a brilliant mind. You have to have the type of thing that Ted Williams had to be the .400 hitter that he was, and to know the strike zone. I think that was his biggest thing. He knew where the strike zone was all the time. Fouled off of the catcher's mask out of play. 1-2 now on Henderson. But he could go to the plate and take one almost an ant away off of the outside corner.
And the umpires would call it a ball.
And they would call it a ball.
He earned that respect later on in his career, to whereas they just would not. And if he didn't swing at it, it was a ball.
Roger Clemens working in front of Ricky Henderson here in the bottom of the 4th inning. 1-2 on Henderson. Outside, 2-2 now.
You know, I asked him one day, I said, Ted, in retrospect, if you had all to go over and through again, if there could be one thing that you would change, what would it be? High with a breaking pitch, and the count goes full. And he simply said, very quickly, I'd get stronger. You know, he was a bull anyway.
Oh, was he?
He said, I'd get stronger. But to him, with his mind and his thought processes, strength was quickness. And he just wanted to be quicker.
Well, you know, I think that's basically what Roger Clemens has done. He's mentioned he went onto that program last season to build up his lower body, added another half-inch to those monstrous thighs of his already. That adds power. Base hit to right field. Ricky Henderson, the first Yankee hit of this ball game. And it was actually a bad ball. It was down low. And Henderson hit it into right field for the first base hit.
Well, the thing right there that helped Ricky was the fact to count 3-2. The first time he's gone 3-2 on a hitter. And you can see that is not a bad pitch at all by Clemens. Ball, as Bobby mentioned, down low. And Ricky, with the 3-2 count, just went right with it. That's a nice piece of hitting.
So the Yankees get their leadoff batter on here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Willie Randolph to the plate. And the fastball over for a called strike. Well, Henderson leads the American League in stolen bases with 41. Became the all-time stolen base leader for the New York Yankees, passing Hal Chase with 249. Willie Randolph is lurking around that 249 pace a little bit. Willie with 247 all-time stolen bases. That swung on and missed 0-2. There's no doubt about that the Yankees, if they get an opportunity, they will take a chance of on Rick Cerrone's arm. They know that Cerrone does not throw the ball that well.
Well, against Clemens, you're not going to have too many big innings. So with Ricky Henderson on base, doesn't make any difference who's on the mound, unless he's got the left-hander who's got the best move. When he gets the opportunity to go, he's going to go.
Well, it wouldn't be a good opportunity here. I don't think the Yankees losing 4-0. And like you said, with Roger Clemens on the mound, well, if you steal a base now, you almost got to make sure. Well, you do have to make sure that you do not get thrown out.
Well, you get the best in the world over there.
Well, we'll see what happens. He's got Roger Clemens' attention, and Clemens is in complete control right now in this ball game, and now Ricky Henderson is over there bothering Roger Clemens, and he's leading 4-0.
Well, if he does that, then shame on Clemens.
And good for Ricky.
That's right.
Hit out into center field. It's playable for Burks. And he's got it, and there's one down. Henderson returns back to first base.
Ricky does not seem to have, with the set that Clemens comes to, does not seem to have a good beat on it. Now we'll see if he was just waiting for the left-hander to get up there, which will impede just a little bit Cerrone more than Randolph.
Ronald Washington stepping in. He struck out. He was the first strikeout victim for Clemens in this ball game. Swings and fouls this one back and out of play.
But the set that Clemens is using right now, I think, is the most effective with the implementation of the balk rule, because he will have his gloves, as you'll see. He will have his glove and his arms away from him, so the runner at first is a bit of an optical illusion. He can't really tell, so to speak. He has guessing a little bit when he comes set, as you'll see Clemens now. I like that set against this new rule.
Count is 0-1 on Washington with one down here in the bottom of the fourth. Hit on the left side and stopped by Spike Owen. He throws the ball from his knees, but not in time. Infield hit for Washington.
Oh, what an excellent effort by Spike Owen. Washington, good speed. And watch the Red Sox shortstop. He had a little mustard on that throw as well.
You bet. And you can see the savvy that Spike Owen had at shortstop. He knew. Now, I mean, your normal reaction would go the short way and try to force the guy at second base, but he knew the speed of Ricky Henderson, and he knew he only had one shot, and that was to throw Washington out at first base. But he didn't get the job done. One down, two Yankees on. First and second as Jack Clark comes to the plate. Clark also struck out his only trip. Clemens has 4 strikeouts in the ball game. It's the first threat by the Yankees. Well, Clemens won the war against Jack Clark the first time up. Let's see what happens here as Clemens tries to flip back to the shortstop cover. And Henderson, I don't know, maybe did he jam his ankle?
He looked like he could have very easily right there. Watch how awkwardly that right ankle hits the bag. Oh, he stuck it underneath and then had to pull it out. I don't think there's any question.
He may be hurt bad. That's trainer Steve Donahue out to talk to Henderson, and it's the right ankle. Boy, I hate to see that. Henderson hurt his ankle a couple of years ago in the spring at Winter Haven against these Boston Red Sox. Not basically the same kind of play, but sliding in, and it was a hesitation slide in at third base when he was just halfway sliding. He was going to hit the dirt, and all of a sudden he changed his mind and tried to put his foot on the bag like he did right there. And he caught it on the corner of the bag.
This is very graphic here. There was a turn right there.
Oh, boy, oh, boy. Well, the Yankees can ill afford to lose Ricky Henderson. They have just about everybody in a who's who on the disabled list right now. Is there any more room on the disabled list? You're a GM. How many guys can you have on the DL?
You just got to keep moving them around, Pards, zigging and zagging.
I think Henderson may come out of this ball game. He is. So the injury to the ankle is bad enough, and it may be a wise decision because now they can at least get the ice and the cold packs on that ankle to keep it from swelling. If it is going to swell, you can see Jay Buhner will come into the ball game to take over for Henderson at second base, and we will update you on the seriousness of the injury to Ricky Henderson later on.
Ladies and gentlemen, running for Henderson, number 54, Jay Buhner, number 54.
So Jay Buhner comes in to run. He's at second. Clownell Washington at first base. One down here at the bottom of the 4th inning, and Boston leads it 4-0. Fastball in there for a called strike.
What next?
Did he go around? They appealed to the first base umpire, Mike Riley, and he said yes, he did go around. It's 0-2.
Tried to lay off the high fastball. And clearly he did.
Clemens way out in front of Jack Clark now, 0-2. Tries to catch the outside corner and misses. It's 1-2 now to Clark. Mike Pagliarulo on deck for the Yankees. Well, Jack Clark last night made his first start at first base. Got plenty of experience there as he played first base for the St. Louis Cardinals before coming over to the New York Yankees in the free agency market. High fly ball down the right field line. First baseman Evans in foul territory. He has it. There's 2 down.
Well, at this point in time, everything going right now is almost academic as compared to the possibilities of what could happen if indeed Henderson has torn a ligament up. The only thing that was nice about the whole scene was he walked off, and it did not look like he was limping that badly. So hopefully it's just a very slight pull.
Well, we'll update you once we get the information on Ricky Henderson. You can see Mike Pagliarulo is coming to the plate. Pags also struck out his only trip There is 2 down now here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Up high for a ball, 1-0. Well, I was looking let's see here. Mattingly on the disabled list. In fact, Mattingly today was going to try to take some light swings in the batting cage.
Saw him down there on the tee.
Underneath the stadium and see how it feels. Swing and a miss at a high fastball, 1-1. He says he still, well, a couple of days ago, he said he still felt a little bit of a twinge down there, and he was going to try it today. Slot, there you see Mattingly right there. You know, he would love to be in the game tonight, even though Roger Clemens is pitching. Don Slott on the disabled list. Wayne Tolleson on the disabled list. Ron Guidry on the disabled list. Stoddard on the disabled list. Swing and a miss at another high fastball, 1-2. That's a pretty good team on the disabled list already.
That's one thing that warms you up to this ball club quite a bit, is the fact that they have really struggled. I mean, they put some lineups out there as opposed to theirs. We talked about in the Oakland series. The ball club that Oakland was putting on that field was much stronger than the Yankees. And yet they're just gutting it out with everybody.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Mike Pirulo.
He's going to try with that little move there, a little step off, get everybody injured.
I hate to see him do that too, because that puts a lot of strain on his arm when he has to throw off balance like that. A little looper down the left field line. This could be trouble as Rice comes on and he can't get it. Bounces into the stands for a ground rule double. Buehler will score. They will hold Washington at third as Pirulo moves into the second base area, and it's a 4-1 Boston lead.
Boy, this is a real little in-betweener right there. And the way Rice was approaching it, that bounce right there cost the Yankees a run. Cardell Washington would have scored.
Well, at least the Yankees do get on the board as we take another look at this. A little blooper down the left field line. If it catches the grass portion, I don't think it bounces in the stands, but it caught that hard dirt portion, which is part of the warning track that runs all the way around the stadium here, as Dave Winfield steps in. Pitches high and outside for a ball, 1-0.
The only thing there, if it had caught the dirt portion, possibly Cardell may not have scored, but if it certainly bounced over Rice's head easily.
Winfield batting .365, 12 home runs, 49 RBIs. Swing and a miss at a high fastball out of the strike zone. It's 1-1.
This is just high heat. Clemens best. There it is. See what you can do with it.
You know, another thing that hitters do against Roger Clemens is that they try to swing so hard that it actually slows their swing down because they don't have their whole body mechanically working right. That's a check swing, foul back out of play. Now Clemens working in front 1-2.
Now what happens when you swing that hard, your swing gets big. And not too many guys are going to catch up to Clemens with a big swing.
I think Winfield hurt his toe. He was swinging too hard. Well, you can see that Big David has been driving in those runs. 49 on the year so far. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Another pitch out of the strike zone. The Yankees do get on the board with run on 3 base hits. They leave 2 at the end of 4 innings of play. It's Boston 4 and the Yankees 1.
The beautiful South Shore, the perfect place to live.
Let's talk to Century 21 Scully Realty in Island Park.
Why them?
Because Michael and Roberta Scully and staff offer extensive listings of homes in Long Beach, Lido Beach, Island Park, and Oceanside.
And how do they do that?
See, the Scully family goes out of their way to bring the right buyer to the right seller.
And how is that?
They videotape their homes, take still pictures, and show them in the convenience of their office. They even advertise on TV and newspaper.
If I were to sell my home, I'd go to Century 21 Scully Realty. Let's call them.
Where do professional drivers and mechanics turn for the parts and supplies they need for their cars?
the same place you can find everything you need for your car, Auto Right, where everything that's right for your car is right under one roof. Like Kendall, Superb 100 gasoline-saving motor oil. Kendall motor oil reduces internal friction in automotive engines. So come to the same place the pros go and do it right with Auto Right.
When it's time for an oil change, don't be stuck without your car. At Auto Spa, it takes just 10 minutes to change your oil with quality Valvoline lubricants and Valvoline filters. Auto Spa's unique 18-point check includes all this: a new Valvoline oil filter, chassis lube, vital fluid top-off, interior vacuum, and more, with no appointment and no hassles. And now, when you ask for the Major League Special at your nearby Auto Spa, you'll get our 18-point Valvoline oil change service for just $18.95. Get a 10-minute oil change today at Auto Spa.
Well, we're back here in the top of the fifth inning at Yankee Stadium as Boston leads the New York Yankees 4-1. As Jay Buhner remains in the ball game and left field, taking over for Ricky Henderson, who was injured in the bottom of the fourth inning, an ankle injury, and he had to leave the ball game. Red Sox will send up Dwight Evans as you take a look at Jay Buhner now. Dwight Evans, Mike Greenwell, and Jim Rice, the scheduled three batters up here in the top of the fifth inning. Steve Shields delivers a high fastball inside. Ball 1, 1-0. Evans is 2 for 2 tonight. He is perfect. RBI to run scored. Swings and fouls this one back. Count goes to 1-1. Dewey Evans, and as he puts some numbers on the board for the Boston Red Sox, he has been about as solid as any player that Boston has had. Lines this one into left field. Coming on is Buhner, and he cannot hold on to it. The ball gets away from him. Evans will hold at first base. Nice try by the left fielder Buhner, but Evans has his third base hit of the ball game.
Ball hit hard out there. Jay Bird trying to do something with it. It's one of those sinking line drives. Did a good job of keeping the ball in front of it.
Well, that'll bring up the youngster, Mike Greenwell. Now you look at Evans at first base. Nobody out here in the top of the fifth inning. Greenwell on the night. Grounded to the first baseman Clark his first time up. The base hit to right field. Came around to score run. Pitch is outside and high for a ball, 1-0. Hit on the ground, this could be 2. Willie to Santana for 1, back to Clark, double play. 4-6-3 double play. And there's 2 down here at the top of the fifth.
Boy, there's not a whole bunch to this one. This is just routine. Blueprint, put it on the board, rack them up. Second double play of the game, and the 53rd of the year by the Yankees.
That'll bring up the Boston left fielder, Jim Rice, who is 1 for 1 in this ball game officially. He walked leading off the top of the second inning. Came around to score as he hits this one off the left side. Pagliarulo snaps a bat hop. And over to Clark. As the Red Sox go down here in the top of the fifth inning, no runs on 1 base hit. They don't leave anybody at the end of 4.5 innings of play. Boston 4, Yankees 1.
Sir, would you choose chicken sandwich A that Wendy's makes from whole breast fillets, or B that's made from different chicken parts all chopped up and squeezed together?
B, because in one bite of that mashed up sandwich, I can get a whole chicken. It says chicken, isn't it?
We give you a whole breast fillet at Wendy's, where you get the best burgers in the business and a whole lot more.
We take our great chicken sandwich, add crisp bacon, add fresh lettuce, add tomato and mayonnaise, and then we say, welcome to the club, Wendy's Chicken Club.
Why, right now is a great time to buy a new Toyota.
Value. Toyota Camry has the highest resale in its class. Beats Ford and Honda, even Mercedes.
And right now, your Toyota dealer is making Toyota more attractive than ever.
Big savings. I saved $555 in options on my new Camry. Great deal.
It's all happening right now at your Toyota dealer. Money-saving deals that make sense for you, but you gotta go see them. So you'll want to ride with the best? Then head to your Toyota dealer right now.
We would like to reassure all parents who are expecting a child. Relax. Your child's delivery is in the right hands. TWA's Child Care Program.
I get paid to fly on TWA. I'm part of the new quality control team. I report directly to the chairman on what's good and what needs improving. When he's happy, you're happy.
Today's TWA. Find out how good we really are.
As a reminder, Sunday afternoon at 1:30, Jack Clark and the Yankees host Cal Ripken and the Baltimore Orioles. Don't miss all the excitement as the Yanks take on the Birds. Sunday at 1:30, live on Sports Channel. Your stop for a Subway Series summer.
As you look at some of the crowd here at Yankee Stadium, a nice crowd on hand. I would guess that we have at least 30,000 here at the stadium tonight as Jose Cruz leads it off for the Yankees here in the bottom of the 5th inning. The Bo Sox lead it 4-1 here in the bottom of the 5th, but they did get on the board in the top and bottom of the 4th inning as Cruz leads it off and a base hit to left field. Jose Cruz taking that fastball and delivering it into left field. The Yankees have their leadoff batter on here in the 5th.
We know the psyche of the player and the psyche of a game is so fragile. And even though it does not seem that significant, so to speak, of getting on the board, even with a little duck snort like Pag's hit right there, it gets the job done. And all of a sudden the psyche is broken down just a shade. All of a sudden Cruz comes out. Just makes everybody feel a little less vulnerable.
Rafael Santana swings and fouls the pitch off to the right side. 0-1 on Santana. He is 0 for 1 in this ballgame.
And let's check some scores out for you. In the American League, Cleveland scored 3 in the 5th, and after 5.5 lead Toronto 3-1. That's yet against Clancy. 4-3 Tigers leading Baltimore after 5 at Memorial Stadium. Terrell against Bautista.
Down low for a ball, 1-1.
Minnesota at Chicago, no score after 2. That's Straker against LaPointe. California leading Texas 3-0 after 1. Witt against Hayward. Oakland leading Kansas City. Oakland finally getting on the board after getting shut out in 2 straight games. 2-0 after an inning and a half. That's Stewart against Saberhagen. And later on, Milwaukee at Seattle.
1-1 on Santana. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Up high for a ball, 2-1.
And the National League, Philadelphia leading Montreal 3-0 after 6.5. Ruffin against Dobson. Mets at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, no scoring after an inning and a half. Ojeda against De Leon. 2-1 Pirates over the Cubs after 4.5 at Pittsburgh. Later on, Cincinnati at San Diego, Houston at Los Angeles, and Atlanta at San Francisco.
Just a little nervous toss over to first base. Jose Cruz with not a lot of speed over there. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 5th. Hit out into right field, but right at Romine, and he's got it, 1 down. Joel Skinner comes to the plate. Skinner 0 for 1. He struck out. Clemens has struck out 5 Yankee batters in the ballgame so far.
Catcher, Joel Skinner.
Last year, Clemens struck out 256 batters. Swing and a miss. Good swing by Joel Skinner.
Here's a little eye-opener for all the San Francisco Giant fans. They have traded outfielder Jeffrey Leonard to the Milwaukee Brewers for shortstop Ernest Riles.
Joel did not swing and miss. He fouled the ball back. As he fouls that one back, now it's 0-2 on Skinner.
Boy, Leonard last year, you know, he was the most valuable player in the '87 National Championship Series. This year he's batting .256, 2 homers, 20 RBIs. Just a little bit of a head turner.
Sounds like that Milwaukee may have gotten the best of the deal. I mean, just by listening to you talk about it there. Foul back and out of play, 0-2. Ernest Riles was job was actually taken by Dale Swaim at shortstop, so he didn't have an everyday job at Milwaukee. He was expendable. And Jeffrey Leonard, like you said, had a great year over with San Francisco last year. Now we'll just have to wait and see. One down here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Outside for a ball, 1-2 now to Skinner.
Well, you'd have to figure at this point with Deere, Yount, and Braggs out there, he's going to be a swing man as far as DH. They've had Joey Meyer from the right side. Joey hit a big home run for him yesterday.
Yeah, but he has really been struggling.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you'd have to figure at this point probably what they got him for is maybe the Deere and Leonard DH. One play the outfield.
Certainly gives them some options. Inside, almost hit Skinner. 2-2 now.
The flout.
The what?
The flout.
What's that?
Leonard, when he hits a home run, the way the flout goes down.
Yeah, right. He may be happy to get out of San Francisco. He may want to warm up a bit. Hit sharply past Boggs into left field for a base hit. Cruz will hold at second, and the Yankees have runners at first and second. One down.
Boggs did not react to that ball the way you would expect it to. There's the fastball right there. Boggs more or less stutter stepped and then finally fell over to the ball. May not have picked it up.
Tell that to Joel Skinner. He'll take him any way he can get him.
Better believe it.
And that brings up Jay Buhner batting for the first time in this ball game. Henderson had to leave the game in the bottom of the 4th inning with a looked like a sprained right ankle as he jammed it on the second base bag, and Buhner took over there.
This is nice for Jay coming to a ball game.
Batting from the right side.
You got to face Clemens.
Facing Roger Clemens. You got to do it sometime. High and inside, ball 1-0. I have seen a lot of improvement by Jay Buhner. I tell you what, he has really matured this year, looks like to me. He's got much more confidence at the plate. He's got much more of an idea where the strike zone is. Last year, the year before, he was swinging at just about everything that came to the plate.
Which is normal.
Good fastball by Clemens. It's in there for a call strike, 1-1.
That's the best fastball Buhner's seen all year right there.
I think that's the best fastball I've seen.
He is going to, I'll put it this way, he's got a chance to be one heck of a player.
You bet.
Jay Buhner.
Well, you don't even worry about the outfield play. We know what he can do out there. That's down low for a ball, 2-1. And he can play all the outfield positions, and maybe center field may be his best position.
Right now in this situation, you sure got to like what you see, the way he's looking at the pitch off Clemens. He's looking at it all the way. He's not jerking out with that left shoulder.
Good point.
Just got to make him get it down.
3-1 on Jay Buhner with one down and runners at first and second for the Yankees. The Red Sox lead at 4-1, and Dwight Evans comes in to talk to Roger Clemens. And I think Clemens, he wants a new baseball. Well, Roger Clemens struck out 238 batters back in 1986. Lifetime now, he has 694 coming into the season. Swing and a miss, what may be a bad ball out of the strike zone on a 3-1 pitch, and he didn't really have his heart into that one, Hawk. On a 3-1 pitch, it didn't look like to me.
Well, that's the thing. On a 3-1 against Clemens, this got to be exactly where you want it, and that ball is up off the plate.
That's zone time now. He's got to be really careful. The runners hold, and Buhner swings and misses. Clemens strikes him out. It's a 6th strikeout for Roger Clemens, and there's 2 down.
There's a case right there where you get yourself out on the 3-1 pitch.
Yeah.
One of the, I should say, the bad pitch he swung at 3-1. Yeah. You get yourself out right there. This is the 3-2 pitch right there. He just threw it right by him.
Willie Randolph steps in. Willie is 0 for 2 in the game. High, 1-0. Well, the last 2 innings, the Yankee batters, they have caused Roger Clemens to throw a lot of pitches in these last 2 innings. But like you said earlier, that Roger Clemens seems like the longer he stays in a ball game, the stronger he gets.
That's been his past.
He's not the norm, you know what I mean? A guy that's normally a power pitcher, as Willie fouls this one off the right side and out of play. A power pitcher starts to lose a little bit off of that fastball. That's when the hitters start to catch up with him.
Most of them.
In the middle inning.
Boy, there's always an exception to the rule when you're looking at it. You also like to think, from a Yankee standpoint, that he's pitching on 3 days rest for the first time this year. Last time went 7 innings. So you'd like to see him throw a lot of pitches. Looking down the line towards the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning.
Only time will tell as the count goes to 2-1 on Randolph. Hit out in the right center field for a base hit. This could be extra bases. Cruz will come around to score. They're going to hold Skinner up to third. The ball gets away from the cutoff man. Here comes Skinner, and he scores. Good heads-up play by Joel Skinner and Clete Boyer at third base. Willie Randolph goes down to second, and it's a 4-3 game in favor of the Red Sox.
Well, here's where the inexperienced Kevin Romine cost him a run. 2 out, of course. They are running, but he should know the speed of Joel Skinner, and you can see right there, off-balance throw. Not a good one. Short hops the cutoff man. Now, he had plenty of time to take his time, set, get the ball to the cutoff man, and Skinner was not going to score. But once the ball was bobbled, so the Yankees catch a break with Romine making a rookie mistake.
And the Yankees will take it as Claudell Washington steps in. Claudell 1 for 2 in this game. Swings and misses at a breaking ball. 0-1 to Washington. Well, they will give. Who they give the error to?
It has to be Romine.
They gave it to the right fielder, Romine. So Romine gets an error. Randolph only gets 1 RBI out of that. Joel Skinner had actually stopped at third base, and then when they bobbled the ball, he came on to score. Another off-speed pitch in there for a called strike. 0-2. So a base hit and an error off the bat of Willie Randolph. Oh, they thought they had him. Cerrone made a move like they had Washington struck out. Not accordingly to Jim McKean, the home plate umpire. It's 1-2 now, Washington. Foul back out of play, 1-2.
Well, this thing is just turned around in a hurry in the last 2 innings.
Roger Clemens started the game off retiring 9 Yankee batters in a row. And in the top of the 4th inning, Ricky Henderson led the inning off. Checked at the bottom of the 4th inning with a base hit to right field, and then the Yankees have been hitting Clemens a little bit better since then, as they've scored 3 runs since the 4th inning. That's outside. 2-2 now to Washington. Clemens has really been high, I mean extremely high out of the strike zone in the last couple of innings. Swing and a miss, strike 3. The Yankees do get on the board. 1 more time or 2 more times here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Yankees score 2 on 3 base hits. They lead 1 at the end of 5. It's the Red Sox 4, Yankees 3.
Deal. Did someone say deal? Your Dodge dealer has hot numbers and big rebates on almost everything in stock. Get up to $1,500 cash back on cars. Up to $1,000 on trucks. Great deals on caravans, too. So if you want a great deal, hey!
Well, are you gonna deal?
Did somebody say deal?
In the beginning, the Whiz was a dream. We had a small store and some big ideas, and a man whose principles were our inspiration. We always deal honestly with our customers. We guarantee the lowest prices and the highest quality. We demand perfection in our stores, of our salespeople, and our products. Integrity, customer satisfaction, excellence. It's why we can say nobody beats the Whiz.
There are times when you can't settle for less than the best. Choosing a health insurance company is one of those times. You have to unravel the promises of competing companies, make sure it's the package you need, and that it's buttoned up by a company with the best record in health care. Because when it comes to things you really depend on, you need the best. Empire Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Because when you need the best, you deserve the best.
We're in the top of the sixth inning at Yankee Stadium, and the score is the Boston Red Sox 4 to Yankees 3.
Travel for Yankees telecasts arranged through Eastern, the airline with convenient daily flights between New York and the beautiful beaches of the Caribbean. At Eastern, we've got your ticket.
Well, you're looking at Rickey Henderson, and this is the play that Rickey Henderson did back in the fourth inning to sprain his right ankle. And that's exactly what it is, accordingly to the trainers, as the first pitch was swung on by Rick Cerrone. Clark picks it up and flips over to Shields. There's one down. But the report on Henderson, a slight sprain to that right ankle. X-rays were taken, and they are negative. So that's a good sign, and I'm sure Rickey is down now in the training room getting a lot of ice applied to that ankle to try to keep the swelling down.
Well, the first thing that pops in your mind, too, after the X-rays come back negative is the fact you just hope there's no ligament sprain.
Yeah, ligament or tendon damage as Kevin Romine steps in. Breaking ball, little tapper over the head of Shields. Santana will have to hurry as he picks it up and throws it over to Clark. What a play by Santana, do or die, and he made it.
Well, certainly the flow of this game has changed in the last two innings. A different headline to this story after the third, when Clemens retired the first 9 Yankees in order, striking out 4 of them. All of a sudden, Red Sox leading 4-0. Yankees come back with 1 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth. As I mentioned, the flow has changed. Nice play by Santana.
2 out here in the top of the sixth inning, 4-3 Boston. As Spike Owen comes to the plate. 0-0 for 2. He is grounded into a double play and struck out. Well, Steve Shields came into this ball game back in the third inning with 1 down. First pitch is in there for a called strike.
You know, Bob, that's one of the reasons of watching a guy, a performer like Clemens, perform is so nice, because it allows your imagination to really work. And after he got through the first 3 like he did, you sit up here, as we'll talk about that more.
Randolph to Clark, and an easy inning for Steve Shields here at the top of the sixth inning. 1-2-3, the Red Sox go down. At the end of 5.5, the Red Sox 4, Yankees 3.
This was for all that you do.
In the minors, you must have called it all 1,000 times, but you never lost sight of the dream.
I got a telegram for you, Tony.
Okay, thanks, Pop.
Hi, babe. Hey, guess what? I got the call. Yeah? Brenda Majors.
You got a shot, you take it.
What's this, rookie umpire?
You got the heart to make it. You got the fire, that big league desire. You keep on reaching higher. You make America work, and this was for you.
Here's to you. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beer.
Hi. Compliments from the gentleman over there.
The 1988 Toyota Celica.
Its powerful 16-valve, 135-horsepower engine propels you to the limit, while you glory in Celica's sleek, aerodynamic shape. The 1988 Toyota Celica, the power and the glory. Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more?
Fans, a reminder, Friday and Saturday at 7:30 p.m., the Mets take on Tim Raines, Andres Galarraga, and the Montreal Expos. Be sure and catch all the Mets baseball action Friday and Saturday at 7:30 with the Mets and Expos live on Sports Channel, your stop for a Subway Series summer.
Hey, and we have got us a ball game once again against these Yankees and Red Sox here at Yankee Stadium. Roger Clemens, the best in the American League and maybe in baseball right now, pitching into the bottom of the 6th inning. It's 4-3 Red Sox as Jack Clark leads it off for the Yankees. Clark 0 for 2 tonight. He has struck out and flied out. Clemens has had some problems. The last 2 innings, the 4th and 5th inning. And Clark just missed that one.
Again, this confrontation. But as we were talking last inning, Morris, this is one of the great things about baseball. When you get a guy like Clemens out there, the imagination can just go work. That's the best way to put it. And after the first 3, you think to yourself, uh-oh, trouble. 4-0 down. Now you get yourself right back in that situation where one swing of the bat. And it's a brand new one.
And you bet it is a guy that can get you on the board in a hurry and tie this ball game up. Jack Clark has 11 home runs on the year. 1-1 to him. Grounded towards the shortstop. Owen over to Evans, and there's one down. That will bring up Mike Pagliarulo. Now, Pags got the Yankees on the board back in the 4th inning as he looped a little double down the left field line. It hit in fair territory, and it bounced into the stands. That allowed Jay Buhner to score from second base. And the first pitch is over on the outside corner for a called strike. 0-1 to Pagliarulo. Pags picked up his 41st RBI of the year. So he is 1 for 2 in this game. Swing and a miss, strike 2. 0-2 now. Boy, Pags is really spinning off the ball, isn't he?
Yep, coming right out of it.
What's so incredible about that is the fact that Clemens actually is pitching into his 5th year in the major leagues. Took a little bit off of that one, but it misses outside. 2-2. You know, he was drafted by the New York Mets first, and he turned it down. He was the 12th pick of the New York Mets back in 1981. Breaking ball, and all Pagliarulo could do was look at it. Strike 3. 8 strikeouts for Clemens, and there's 2 down.
He can freeze you. You see, even the ball was up a little bit. When you're sitting dead red off Clemens like that, and you're looking for gas, when you're down in that count, that's when that strike zone really enlarges. All of a sudden, a little something off speed, and you're froze.
Now to bring up Dave Winfield. Winfield in this ball game 0 for 2. He has grounded out and struck out. Fastball in there for a called strike. Winfield had a chance to drive in a couple of runs back in the 4th inning, but Clemens struck him out. We understand, Hawk, by the radar gun that we have on Roger Clemens that he is now throwing under 90 miles an hour on every pitch. Line drive, base hit up the middle. So Winfield keeps the Yankees alive here in the bottom of the 6th inning with a base hit. Got to bring up Jose Cruz.
Well, here's the 40-year-old veteran Cruz against Clemens. Now, the last time up, Cruz shot a line drive in the left field for a base hit, but make no mistake about it. Cruz can sit on a fastball, and he can turn a 30-30 around.
Up high for a ball, 1-0. I don't think Jose Cruz looks for anything else but a fastball.
Is there anything else?
And I'll tell you what, the harder they throw, the higher he raises that front leg. A little,
ball.
Yeah, got in on him, jammed him. Foul territory as Boggs brings it down. No runs on one base hit. The Yankees leave one at the end of 6 innings of play. It's still the Red Sox 4 and the Yankees 3.
Humongous Gas and Electric?
Hello, this is Bob Davis.
Davis. Ah, yes, 24327A. What's your problem?
Our gas heater is off.
Do you smell gas, 24327A?
Well, no, but we're freezing.
Well, we'll be there eventually, but do call immediately if you smell gas.
Futura Oil Heat, how may we help you?
Tired of
Yes,
big
Mr.
utility
Jones.
service hang-ups?
I'll send your serviceman right over.
Discover the warmth of oil heat.
Getting a home equity loan from Astoria Federal was a great move. We paid Jeff's tuition, bought my husband Tom a new car, and we get a tax break we wouldn't get if we'd refinanced.
Get this special introductory rate with an Astoria Federal home equity loan. Call for details.
With our Astoria Federal home equity loan, we even bought a little something for me.
Astoria Federal, right where it counts.
Experience Consumers Kitchens and Baths, one of the largest kitchen and bath distributors in the country. You'll find more. Over 200 kitchens on display in the styles you want. The largest selection of bath fixtures, over 1,000 in stock. You'll find more service. We'll help you design your kitchen on our Computer Design Center while your children are entertained in our mini theater.
Ooh, you'll find more.
Great selection, wholesale prices.
You'll find more. Consumers Kitchens and Baths.
Well, we move into the top of the 7th inning here at Yankee Stadium as Steve Shields has really shut the Boston Red Sox down since coming on in the 3rd inning with 1 down. And it'll be Boggs, Barrett, and Burks, the scheduled 3 batters here in the top of the 7th inning. We've got a ball game, and here taking the rest away is the Hawk.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Wade Boggs will lead it off. Boggs 1 for 2 in this ball game, had a single to lead off in the first, scored a run, intentionally walked in the second, and he bounced to second back in the 4th. And indeed, Steve Shields has done a number since coming on back in the 3rd inning. He's pitched 3 2/3, and he's only faced 11 men, giving up 1 hit, but he was erased on the front end of a double play back in the 5th inning. 4-9-1 for the Red Sox, 3-7-0 for the Yankees. Rubber match of this 3-game series. Just misses. Shields wanted it. Buckles his knees out there with the call, and the count 2-1. Outfield straight away. Buhner a little deep and left. Boggs can use the hold yard. Hags well off the line at 3rd. Same for Clark at 1st. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Of course, Boggs last year, he hit 24 home runs. He's got power. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark. He's only got 1 home run this year.
He has good power when he wants to.
When he wants to go for it.
Chopper. Santana now has to wait on it. Quick release over to 1st and tie. Of course, after an off day tomorrow, it'll be the Baltimore Orioles coming into town. 3-game weekend series. On Friday, it'll be Rick Rhoden against Mike Boddicker. On Saturday, John Candelaria against Jeff Ballard. Finale of that set and homestand. On Sunday, Richard Dotson against Mike Morgan. Here's Barrett. Marty 0 for 2 with a sacrifice bunt. Corners in close as he takes the strike. Shields is wheeling and dealing. Drops that curveball in nicely, and Barrett down 0-2. Yankees scored 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd. should say the Red Sox. Yankees came back 1 in the 4th and 2 in the 5th. Barrett. That should be out of play right side, about 5 or 6 rows back. Count remains 0-2. There again, letting go of the bat. He does that just about as well as anybody. On a tough pitcher's pitch, when he's down in the count, he just fires the bat at the ball. And more often than not, we'll get some sort of contact with it.
He gets fooled just a bit here on this breaking ball, and he just throws the bat at it just to try to stay alive and give himself one more chance. Get a piece of it someplace, hoping to foul it off or at least get a base hit or do something with it.
There's a shot right to pass. Throw 2 out. Here's the center fielder, Ellis Burks. Burks has bounced back to the pitcher, bounced to second, and struck out. He is now 2 for 10 in this 3-game set. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, he has a 15-game hitting streak going for him, his personal best in the major leagues. Outfield spread out straight away. Got a good pitch to hit right there, too quick. And it's a strike. Jammed him, ate him up. 2 hopper to Pags. Underhanded peg over to Clark. And Shields, for the 3rd time in his 4 innings of work, retires the side in order. Nothing across after 6.5, 4-3 Boston. Right now, let's go back to our studios and join our buddy Lee Seidler.
Huck, the Tigers out to avert a sweep of the hands of the Orioles. Wouldn't that be embarrassing? Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, 2-1 Detroit. Top of the 4th, man on first for Darrell Evans. He drives one down the line, fair or foul. Fair ball, 2-run dinger. The Tigers take a 4-1 lead, make it 12-3 now in the bottom of the 6th. Toronto at Cleveland, a 3-2 lead for the Tribe there in the bottom of the 7th. In St. Louis, Cardinals and Mets, the rubber match of that series is in a rain delay right now, really coming down. Top of the 2nd, no score. Mookie Wilson on first. Elster rips the base hit down the left field line into the Mets bullpen. Vince Coleman comes up throwing. Mookie heads for home. Here's the play at the plate. Mookie gets pegged. Tony Pena got him. No score. Top of the 2nd in a rain delay. Complete report following the Yankees game on New York Sports Nightly. See you then. Send you back to the Bronx after this.
There's no place on earth that I'd rather be than out in the open where it's all plain to see. If it's gonna get done, it's up to you and to me. There's no place that I'd rather be. Head for the mountains of Bush. Head for the mountains of Bush.
New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by the Tri-State Area Midas Muffler and Brake Specialists. Come on in and let us show you why nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
A very festive crowd on hand tonight at Yankee Stadium, and it was just enriched a bit by Robert Merrill singing "Take Us Out to the Ball Game." Right here, 4-9-1 for Boston, 3-7-0 for the Yankees. While the Bronx Bombers here in the 7th, it'll be Santana, Skinner, then the top of the order, Jay Buhner. Nation just joined in. Ricky Henderson back in the 4th inning. Suffered what we hope to be only a slight sprain of his right ankle. Here's Raphael. He's 0 for 2. Takes a fastball strike. In the last couple of innings,
so what'd you do? You won them something?
Clemens' fastball has lost something on it. The numbers being, in the first 3, he was between 91 and 95. Last inning, the best fastball he threw was 89. And again, he is working on 3 days rest for the first time this year. But also, as we mentioned, Merce, he has a history of coming back in the last couple of innings and throwing just as good as he did at the outset.
Well, he has pitched into the 7th inning in all of his 13 starts, and into the 8th inning, all but one.
There was a fastball.
And then you have to go back to what we talked about earlier, that Clemens working on that off-season program to strengthen his legs up, to add another half-inch to his thigh area.
Raffy cutting and slashing up there.
And he did that for one reason, Clemens says, and that is so that he would retain his velocity and he could pitch with that velocity later on the ball game when he wants to try to complete one. He's got more strength.
Pull a string on him right there. He's trying to fight it out. Well, you look down the road in the past, so to speak, of all pitchers who have had longevity. The first one that comes into my mind was Tom Seaver. Now, Seaver, in my opinion, had the best leg action, best leg drive of any pitcher I've ever seen. That's high in the left field. Jim Rice. That's one gone. Now, the more you use your legs, the easier it is on your arm. And Seaver had just outstanding leg action. Another guy that pops into mind is Nolan Ryan. Nolan with tremendously strong legs, great leg action. And the way Roger Clemens used his legs. Now, again, there are always exceptions to the rule. You can go to the other side of that page and say, okay, look at Don Sutton, who's pitched for about 23 years in the big leagues. Skinner can't get it. Skins has singled and struck out, and also scored one of the 2 runs. Let's check that, 3 Yankee runs. One of the 2 runs back in the 5th inning. But for the most part, Don Sutton was an upper half pitcher. That's inside in the count 1-1.
Well, it's basically the same thing for a hitter, too, because most of the power, well, all the power actually is generated, and everything follows the lower body. Your upper body follows the lower body. Your lower body has to work before your upper body can ever work at all. That's where you generate your power. I don't know, Clemens had 18 complete games last year. He says he wants to get stronger and complete more games this year.
That's called strike 3.
Come on back, Cerrone.
That's only 2, Rick. That's strikeout number 9 for Roger.
Left fielder, Ray Newton.
Well, this fastball is just right down Broadway, and Skinner cannot believe it.
I think he's a little upset at himself as you look now. Now, as we mentioned, there you see the 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Last inning, his best was 89, so indeed he might be catching that second breath. As Buhner takes a strike, Jay's only plate appearance was back in the 5th, and he struck out on his 3-2 fastball. Of course, we left out the pitcher has had 24 years in the big leagues, longevity, so to speak, and outstanding, and that's the fellow who started for the Yankees tonight, Tommy John. But Tommy, a different type pitcher. Tommy has never been a power pitcher. There's a pretty good breaking ball right there, and the count 1-2.
Now you can go on and on and on. Steve Carlton, who was released this year by the Minnesota Twins. Basically the same type of pitcher. He had most of his mechanics were perfect. Carlton, a lower body type pitcher.
Buhner goes down, so it looks like Clemens coming back a little bit here as he strikes out a couple. 1-2-3 inning, and after 7, the Red Sox lead at 4-3.
Nothing's more New York than minding your own business.
Hi, this is Lori checking in. I got the booking. Great.
Okay, let's go to work.
Gotta go.
Okay, get the phone out. Okay, see you later.
The people of New York Telephone keep our public telephones working as hard as the people who use them.
Light on the face.
Get street smart, because nothing's more New York than New York Telephone public phones.
They got me working with this Russian cop. He doesn't say things like, you have the right to remain silent, you have a right to an attorney, stop or I'll shoot, legal stuff like that.
I'm not on holiday here.
don't do that in Chicago. But boy, he gets the job done, doesn't he?
Arnold Schwarzenegger, James Belushi. Red Heat. Rated R. Starts Friday, June 17th at a theater near you.
There are times in life when you must make a choice, when only the best will do. Choosing a health insurance company is one of those times. You have to reach beyond yourself and rely on something that has earned your trust over the years. Because when it has to perform, you want it to be the best it can be. Empire Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Because when you need the best, you deserve the best.
Top of the 8th inning, 4-3 Boston on top. And a big inning right here for Steve Shields and the Yankees if they're going to try to come back in this ball game against Roger Clemens. It'll be Evans, Greenwell, and Rice. If he can take care of the Red Sox here like he has been doing, Shields coming on back in the third and has faced the minimum since then. He has worked 4 2/3. He's faced only 14 men, giving up 1 hit, and he was erased on a double play. But again, this is the second time around for the Red Sox hitters as Evans takes a strike. Rice 3 for 3 on the evening. 4-9-1 for Boston, 3-7-0 for the Yankees. Fastball up high, 0-2. Breaking ball, just got a piece of it. Mersch got some scores for us.
You bet. Right now, Cleveland leading Toronto 3-2 with Cleveland batting in the bottom of the 7th inning. Bud Black is now pitching for Cleveland in that ball game. Clancy started for Toronto. Bud Black, of course, came over from the Kansas City Royals in a trade made by Cleveland to Kansas City.
Skinner setting up right down the middle. That's fouled off the foot. Mike Riley at first base indeed calls foul ball.
Cleveland also sent Pat Tabler to Kansas City in that trade. In Detroit, or excuse me, in Baltimore, it's Detroit 12-3. And you take a look at Bob Stanley now warming up in the Red Sox bullpen. So it's Detroit 12 and Baltimore 3 as Detroit put an 8 spot on them in the top half of the 6th inning. That's at the end of 5.5 innings of play. Chicago 2, Minnesota nothing at the end of 4.
Real foul.
It's California 5 and Texas nothing at the end of 3 innings of play. Oakland 2 and Kansas City nothing at the end of 3.5 innings of play. Stewart and Saberhagen in that ball game. Milwaukee, Seattle, no score right now. Odell Jones was scheduled to start that ball game, but he did not start because he has a knee injury. So Filer was the last-minute starter for Milwaukee.
Fowler hadn't lost in years. Breaking ball blowing away, and a count 1-2 to Evans.
In the National League, it's Montreal 4 and Philadelphia 3 at the end of 8 innings of play. Solo home run by Phil Bradley, his second. The New York Mets, St. Louis Cardinals, they've had a rain delay there. They are scoreless at the end of an inning and a half, and they are in a rain delay in the bottom of the 2nd inning. It's Pittsburgh 5 and the Chicago Cubbies 1 at the end of 6.5 innings of play out in Pittsburgh. Cincinnati, San Diego later start. Houston is at Los Angeles later start. Also Atlanta at San Francisco later start.
1-2 pitch to Evans. Breaking ball misses. Count evens at 2. Evans now hitting .316 to go along with those 4 homers and 37 RBIs. Check that 38. He has one tonight. Hard one, Hopper pass. Nice peg over to Clark, and the leadoff man is gone. So with 1 gone, that'll bring up Greenwell. Mike 1 for 3, a run scored. Back in the 3rd inning.
Greenwell.
Fastball outside. Greenwell, one of the best-looking young offensive players in this league. He is aggressive. 2-0 the count. He's got that knack, which is a knack of knocking in big runs. A lot of guys can knock in a lot of runs. Sometimes they don't mean that much. It goes back to that old saying, don't tell me what you hit, tell me when you hit it. Matter of fact, last year, Greenwell hitting at .328 for the Red Sox, and just 412 at-bats, hit 19 home runs, and drove in 89. That's ball 4. Shields pitching very carefully to Greenwell. That's the first walk issued by Steve, and only the second base runner. That'll bring up the left fielder, Jim Rice. Rice is 1 for 2. He's walked, scored a run, single, knocked in a run, and he's bounced to third. Rice out of Anderson, South Carolina. Caudell playing over towards Winfield. A couple of steps as he can't get the breaking ball. He has been an enigma the last couple of years for Boston. Most of the players, most of the people think he can still hit. But Rice has already made a couple of comments as that just catches the outside corner. Nifty pitch by Shields. But Rice has already made a couple of statements this year to the effect that maybe he's through. And I'll tell you what, when the player himself, as Cecilio Guante starts to loosen up, when the player starts making comments like that, I figure there's got to be something to it. That's looped out into center field. Caudell's there. 2 gone.
Well, first of all, there's nobody better to judge somebody than yourself. And if you think that you're through, as you take a look at Dave Righetti now beginning to warm up in the Yankee bullpen, those are doubts that are flowing through your mind, and that's the kind of doubts that produces no home runs and a .244 batting average.
If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right either way. Here's Cerrone. He's been thinking he could lately. He's 2 for 3 tonight with an RBI. Cerrone now hitting at .355 in a Boston uniform. Who'd have thunk it? That's deep. That's way back. Foul ball, says third base umpire Mark Johnson. And that was close. Mercy.
Well, it had plenty of distance on it. It was just a matter of whether it was going on the left side of the foul pole or the right side.
Right side, wrong shape.
And lucky for the Yankees, it went on the left side.
I thought it was going to stay fair from where we were sitting. 1-1 to count. Shields wanted that one to count. 2-1. Greenwell at first, 2 gone. Mike will take off if you don't keep an eyeball on him over there. He is 6 for 9 in stolen bases this year. Jammed him, ate him up, hangs. He'll go the short way over to Willie covering, of course, Greenwell, and that'll do it. So Steve Shields has just been outstanding this evening. Nothing across for the Red Sox. They'll go to the bottom of the 8th, trailing Roger Clemens 4-3.
Up here, you catch him with experience. When you've got them where you want them, you head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Busch.
How are those horses doing? What horses?
Head for the mountains of Busch beer.
Come on, let's get it right now. And a 1 and a 2 and a let's go surfing now. Everybody's learning how. Come on, safari with me. Surfing safari, yes. I'm the good guy. Sound great. Mike Love.
Sound like Mike
Surfing
Tyson.
safari, yes. Hey.
On Sunday, June 26th, the Yankees host the Cleveland Indians at 1:30. Following the game, Citibank presents the Beach Boys in concert. One ticket gets you in on the action of Yankee baseball and the legendary Boys of Summer.
Pride and power, the 1988 Yankees.
Well, this weekend, Cal Ripken, Eddie Murray, and the Baltimore Orioles land at the stadium for a three-game series. Yankees host the Birds on Friday night at 7:30, Saturday afternoon at 3:20, and Sunday afternoon at 1:30. And on Sunday, Walt Boggs presents Bat Day. It's been a Yankee tradition since 1965, and all youngsters at the stadium on Sunday will receive a Yankee bat, compliments of Walt Boggs. Tickets are on sale now at the stadium or through Ticketmaster. For charge orders, you can call Ticketmaster at 212-307-7171. Don't miss the Yankees versus the Orioles at the stadium this weekend.
Some defensive changes for the Red Sox here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Dwight Evans has gone from first base into right field. Kevin Romine has gone from right to left. And coming into play first base is Pat Dodson. Matt Dodson. So the Red Sox defensively, Romine in left field, Burks in center, Evans in right. Around the horn, Dodson at first, Barrett at second, Owen the shortstop, Boggs at third, and the battery of Cerrone and Clemens. 4 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for the Red Sox. 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Yankees as Willie Randolph leads it off. Takes a strike. Willie 1 for 3 tonight. Knocked in a run back in the fifth with a solid single to right center field. Red Sox led it 4-0 after 3. Yankees put 1 on the board in the 4th and 2 in the 5th. Randolph takes the ball and the count 1-1. Clemens tonight with 10 strikeouts. That was the 7th time he has reached double figures this year and the 28th time in his short career. That's a Red Sox record. In and over, and the count 1-2.
I think when Roger Clemens pitches, that the guys in the bullpen for the Red Sox, they just kind of get up and get a little exercise and get their work in. They're really not throwing to come into a ball game, I don't think. Not with the kind of numbers and the kind of things that he does.
Marty Barrett, easy play for him. Well, they got the big right-hander, Lee Smith, loosening up for Boston. Well, he's what you call a staff saver. There's no question about it. Here's Claudell Washington. Claudell 1 for 3. Single back in the 4th. The other 2 times he has been a strikeout victim. Fastball misses.
Well, you've always heard about the stopper out of the bullpen. Clemens actually is a stopper in the starting rotation. He's the kind of guy that stops those losing streaks, those long losing streaks, because when you got a guy like Clemens out there, there's just no way that you can fall into a 12 or 13 or 14, 15 game losing streak. I mean,
chances are very.
I mean, he's going to get the ball every 3 or 4 days.
There's a strike and the count 2-1. 2 balls and a strike to Claudell with Clark on deck. Outfield deep. Straight away for Washington. Jammed him into right field. Evans is there. 2 gone.
First baseman, Jack Clark.
Here's Jack Clark. He struck out in the 2nd. He just missed one in the 4th. Popped up to first base. Of course, he can take Clemens out anywhere, any direction. And he grounded out in the 6th. Now the outfield backs up even more, especially Burks in center. Oof. Looking for it. Got it, and just underneath it.
You can see Clark shaking his head. He knows that he had a good pitch to hit. It may have been up out of the strike zone just a little bit more than he wanted.
Clemens challenges him once again, misses, and the count evens at 1.
There has been nobody Now, one fan leave Yankee Stadium.
Takes the strike. So Clark in the hole, 1-2. That was a 94-mile-an-hour fastball by Clemens, and indeed he is getting into his pattern, finishing up strong in the 7th, 8th, and the 9th. As we mentioned, back in the 6th inning, the best fastball he threw was 89. Two and two. Now the outfield really deep. Count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes. Boggs about 2.5 steps off the line at third. And Jack trying to get into this. He is trying to gear it up.
He's trying to tie it up.
Yeah. Full count, so we'll see. Ball 4. So Clemens did not give in to Clark in that at bat. First walk by Roger.
And who do you think that would command the walk? Is Jack Clark. He leads almost everybody in walks this year.
Clemens did not give in. That certainly, he has a lot of courage out there in the mound, but still, sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. Here's Pagliarulo. Michael, 1 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Takes a strike. And while we have a moment, we would like to congratulate Scott Nielsen in Columbus as he pitched a no-hitter tonight against the Maine Guides. That's the first 9-inning no-hitter in Columbus history. That's low, and the count evens at 1. So with the 3 Yankee runs coming back in the 4th and the 5th, one swing can do a whole bunch of damage. Ooh, he tried it. And the count 1-2. Ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. 4-3 Boston leading. Clark at first. Bottom of the 8th inning. Hard hit, base hit. Clark will hold at second, so the tying run in scoring position. And here comes Johnny McNamara. The only thing bad about that right there, base hit, is just too bad that Hags didn't get that one airborne.
Well, we've noticed on our gun that Roger Clemens is not losing any of his velocity on his fastball. He's still up in the 90s now, 92, 93, 94. You can see McNamara, he is asking Rich Cerrone, the catcher, what he thinks. And they are going to go to the bullpen. And I think they are going to go to Lee Smith as we watch this base hit. The fastball, Pagliarulo drills it into right field for a base hit. And that's going to be all for the Yankees. I mean, for Roger Clemens. And Lee Smith, the guy that they have been counting on. Big trade with the Chicago Cubs. Lee Smith. Another fireballer. He will come on to throw some aspirins once again to these New York Yankee hitters, and he will be facing Dave Winston in this situation. Could be the ball game right here on the line with 2 runners on for the Yankees. The Yankees are losing 4-3. There is 2 outs. Here in the bottom of the 8th inning, as you take a look at Roger Clemens. And while we have time, I'll tell you about Sports Channel's got all the bases covered with 2 great shows. First at 7:30, the conclusion of How About That? A special profile of legendary broadcaster Mel Allen. Then at 8 o'clock, don't miss Sports Channel Roundtable live, a 2-hour baseball call-in show with my partner Hawk Harrelson, Fran Healy, Phil Pepe, Lee Seidman, our buddy Lee Seidman, and special guest Orioles manager Frank Robinson. That ought to be very interesting. That's Mel Allen. How About That at 7:30, and Sports Channel Roundtable live at 8 o'clock tomorrow exclusively on Sports Channel.
Well, we sure had a good time on the last roundtable. That's one of 4 we're going to be doing this season. As you look at Roger Clemens, hopefully we'll have the same thing tomorrow night. But Clemens leaving the ball game. Partial line on Roger, 7 2/3, 3 runs, 2 earned, 8 hits, 1 walk, and he had 10 strikeouts. And Bobby, when you're talking about arguably the best pitcher in baseball, and Clemens, even though Lee Smith, who's 6'6", 245 pounds, and he can bring it, regardless of what happens, I'm glad to see Clemens out of it.
I am too. I think it's a... You know what? After watching McNamara on the pitcher's mound, I think he let Roger Clemens make his own decision of whether he wanted to stay or come out of the game, because he asked Roger, it looked like to me, he asked Roger Clemens, do you want to stay or do you want to leave? And I think Roger said, well, you better go to the bullpen.
All right, well, I'm sure that Johnny Mac let Roger call the shot right there, because he is his horse. The Red Sox are not going to do anything unless Clemens gets it done for him in that starting rotation. But here's the big fella, as Bobby mentioned, coming over to the Red Sox in a very controversial trade for the Chicago Cubs. They got Calvin Schiraldi and Al Nipper in return. And, of course, Smith. The Cub fans were just irate at that deal. But Schiraldi, who came over, and they are using him as a starter, has done a good job for the Cubbies. You got a couple of 6'6"ers out there right now, Parks.
I can tell you one thing, the Yankee hitters, they won't have to adjust to anything, because he's going to come right at him with that big fastball, too.
Well, you know what he's done? In the last couple of years, I've seen Smith pitch quite a bit. For some reason, he loves to throw that breaking ball now. And I have seen him beat on that thing the last couple of seasons, which is actually his worst pitch, more often than not. But right here, 4-3, Boston on top, bottom of the 8th, 2 out. Clark at second, Pags at first. Winfield 1 for 3 tonight. Outfield straight away. Gas misses, 1-0. Smith out of Jamestown, Louisiana. Last year, 36 saves for the Cubbies. 180 coming into this year, career-wise.
And he saved the first game of this 3-game series for the Boston Red Sox. As the Red Sox beat the Yankees 3-2, Dave Winfield steps back away now. But he pitched an inning in that ball game as he walked 1 and struck out 1. He also gave up a base hit.
Well, that's all Winnie is looking for right here.
Winnie's looking for something else, but he'll take the base hit.
No, he's looking for the bingle. That's all. He's looking for the little bingle. Get this thing back in perspective. As Smith falls behind 2-0.
I know one thing, he can look awfully hard right now because this is what we call zone time.
That's right. This is the one pitch, maybe in this sequence. Maybe in this sequence, unless it goes to 3-1. That he can just do it any way he wants to. Zone it. Watch out as Barrett tries to sneak in behind Clark, who's got a big lead down there. Of course, with the Red Sox outfielders as deep as they are, even with the speed of Jack Clark, they're going to have a problem throwing him out. Ball 3. base hit will put the Yankees on top. And you might think to yourself right here, Cruz, who knows Lee Smith, with the exception of Jack Clark, just about as well as anybody on this ball club. Cruz tonight, 1 for 3, a single, a run scored back in the 5th. Fastball strike on the outer half. Good pitch by Smith. Out of play, slashed out of play, and Cruz in a big hole. 0-2. Lays off of it. Ball and 2 strikes to Jose Cruz.
Well, Smith is staying away from Cruz. He's trying to nip the outside corner. He hasn't thrown anything that appears to be an off-speed pitch or a breaking ball to Cruz, and Cruz a dead fastball hitter.
He hadn't thrown anything that resembled a wrinkle yet. That's upper deck. Count hangs at 1-2 with the tying run. Jack Clark at third. The go-ahead run. Pagliarulo at second. And Winfield at first. Two balls, 2 strikes. And the big pitch coming up right here. Slash, just foul down the left field line.
Well, Jose Cruz, he is a cutter and a slasher. And Smith has stayed from the middle of the plate away on him in this sequence of pitches.
Chopper, 0-2 hopper. He'll go the short way over to Barrett. They force Winfield. And that'll do it for the Yankees here in the 8th. Big threat. Cannot tie it up. Nothing across. There was 1 hit. No errors. 3 men left. They'll go to the 9th. Boston 4.
I wonder if I can get a car loan.
Oh, I wonder if they'll give me a vacation loan.
Join the Apple Bank family and you'll never have to wonder if you can meet your financial needs. You'll get a personal family banker, free, no bounce checking, and more. Join the Apple Bank family and feel good about banking again. Come in or call Apple Bank for Savings. We're good for you.
The city, Rockville Center. The Sporting Goods Mystery Case. The only clue, a tag from Wolf Sport Shop. 12:56 p.m. Find the culprit sport. Case solved. It must be baseball, golf, football, soccer, tennis, basketball, hockey, lacrosse, boxing. 4:23 p.m. Case dismissed. Wolf selection, too big. Wolf Sport Shop in Rockville Center. Whatever the sport, they've got the goods.
When my father started Elegant Entries over 20 years ago, he said, Gary, build the best store possible, sell it at a fair price, and install it with pride. Now, with 8 showrooms and our exclusive Magnum line of factory-installed products, we offer the best doors, windows, and garage doors available, all at fair, affordable prices. Visit our showrooms or call 595-1000 for our free shop-at-home service, because I believe we're still the best. Sometimes it really pays to listen to your father.
Well, you see the new pitcher for the New York Yankees here in the top half of the 9th inning, Dave Righetti, will come on to do the pitching for the New York Yankees. But Steve Shields, and what a job he did. 5 2/3 inning as he came into this ball game to replace Tommy John, who started back in the 3rd inning with 1 down. And he just shut the Boston Red Sox down as he went, as I mentioned, 5 2/3 innings, no runs. And he struck out 2 and walked 1 as you take a look at Dave Righetti's line. Dave Righetti on the year. Go ahead, Hawk.
What a job by Shields.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, the Yankees needed that. He only faced 1 over the minimum in the 5 2/3. 4 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for the Red Sox. 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Yankees in what has been a very, very exciting ball game. Roger Clemens, a starter against Tommy John. And Shields came on and did exactly what you're supposed to do, only he did it in just outstanding fashion. While the Red Sox here in the 9th, it'll be Romine, Owen, then the top of the order, Wade Boggs, to face the Yankee left-hander. Romine 1 for 3, had a bunt single back in the 2nd. It was a beauty. Rip foul. And the count 0-1. With the exception of the long ball, in case you joined us late, this game has had a little bit of everything. Good defensive plays, good pitching, good hitting. Romine down in the count 0-2.
Red Sox have an abundance of youngsters that are threatening to be superstars that are coming up on this ball club. Romine, Dotson, Kutcher, they are here right now, but Sam Horn and Anderson, Brady Anderson, a check swing, appeal down to first base umpire Riley. He said he did not go around. Benzinger, he's on the disabled list right now. So they've got some guys that are very promising in this Boston Red Sox organization. Ellis Burks.
Good fastball by Righetti on the outside corner. So the leadoff man's gone.
Shortstop, Spike Gold.
Boy, there's a beauty.
You bet. That's a doozy by the ragman.
Here's Owen. Spike's throwing the collar tonight. Hitting to a double play, struck out, and he's bounced to second. Check some other scores for you. After 8 at Cleveland, Indians leading the Blue Jays 4-2. Look at the play by Pack. Can he throw him out? Long tag in time. Nice play.
What makes this such a nice play is that Mike Pagliarulo was playing in on the batter Spike Owen and makes a nice diving grab. Throws him out. Well, we've seen that a lot this year from Mike Pagliarulo.
Wade Boggs takes the breaking pitch for a strike. Boggs 1 for 3 tonight. Led off the ball game with a single and scored the first Boston run. Curveball, that one misses. 1-1. Other scores: Tigers thumping Baltimore 12-4. That's after 8 at Memorial Stadium. Minnesota White Sox tied at 2 after 6.5 at Comiskey Park. California leading Texas 5-2 after 5 down at Arlington. Pitch misses and the count 2-1. Kansas City trying to sweep the A's as they lead them 3-2. That's after 5. Oakland with 2 in the 2nd. Kansas City coming back with a 3 spot in the 4th. Stewart against Saberhagen. Another breaking ball misses, and the count 3-1. And the other American League game, Milwaukee did not score in the top of the first at Seattle. That's Filer against Campbell. Check swing. Pag should have an easy go of this one. Underneath over to Clark. And that'll do it. So Rigetti comes in, retires the Red Sox in order. They'll go to the ninth. Schedule hitters: Santana, Skinner, and Buhner, with the Red Sox leading 4-3.
Toyota Corolla. First time I saw the new one, I said, that's a Corolla?
And why'd you say that?
It doesn't look like a Corolla. It's beautiful. And from where the driver sits, it's even more beautiful.
How so?
Great handling. Multi-valve performance. Sporty interiors. Beautiful. But I still keep thinking, this is a Corolla?
The new Dimension Corolla. Legendary value. Toyota quality.
Who could ask for anything more?
John, Dr. Pullman's office. Remember your gum surgery appointment Monday. Have a nice day.
Yeah, this is Al at the garage. Your car has problems, big problems.
This is your landlord, or should I say ex-landlord. Your lease is history, and so are you.
If it's out there, it's in here. The 9X Yellow Pages. Why would anyone need another?
There are times when you can't settle for less than the best. Choosing a health insurance company is one of those times. You have to unravel the promises of competing companies, make sure it's the package you need, and that it's buttoned up by a company with the best record in healthcare. Because when it comes to things you really depend on, you need the best. Empire Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Because when you need the best, you deserve the best.
WNBC's Don Imus.
The issue for George Bush is not what he knew about the Iran-Contra affair, but why he married his mom. 66 WNBC.
The skipper, Billy Martin, looks on as his club trails the Red Sox in a rubber match of this three-game set by a score of 4-3. Gary Ward has come out to hit for Rafael Santana. 4 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for Boston. 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Yankees. Big right-hander Lee Smith in relief of Roger Clemens. Breaking ball catches the outside corner, and the count 0-1. Gary doesn't like that one too much. There you see the numbers on Ward. Boston led it 4-0 after 3. Yankees came back with 1 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. Outfield deep, spread out straight away as the fastball catches the corner, and quickly it's 0-2.
Well, as far as a player is concerned, Gary Ward is doing the wrong thing at home plate because when you take a look at the umpire, especially when you're a pinch hitter after the first strike like he did, he may not get the benefit of the doubt from here on in. You better be hacking and swinging just as he did right there.
On the pitch, he couldn't take any chances.
No,
right
he could
there.
not.
The totals on the board thus far. Boggs, a couple of steps off the line at third. Dodson the same at first. That fastball outside in the count 1-2. In case you just joined us, Roger Clemens went 7 2/3. Gave up 3 runs, 2 earned, 8 hits, 1 walk, and had 10 strikeouts. So the big right-hander working on just 3 days rest. Did his job. There's a close one. And indeed, Ward may have gotten the benefit of the doubt right there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. High into right is playable. Dwight Evans. 1 gone. So a big man. The leadoff man is gone, and that'll bring up the catcher, Joel Skinner. Skins tonight 1 for 3. Struck out in the 3rd, singled and scored a run in the 5th, and he struck out in the 7th. Breaking ball catches a corner. Skinner doesn't like it. And the count 0-1. Skins 3 for 9 with 2 RBIs in the 3 games against Boston. Outfield very deep straight away. Can't get that breaking pitch. And he's down in the hole 0-2. So Smith comes out. Jumps on top of Ward 0-2. Jumps on top of Skinner 0-2.
There's a breaking ball.
A little different situation than last inning, though.
Yeah, that's true.
He wasn't going to get beat on his worst pitch to the left-hander Cruz. That one just missed in the count. A ball and 2 strikes. One and 2 to Skinner with Jay Buhner on deck. Thrown to the outside as that'll take care of Joel, and there's 2 gone.
Here's the breaking ball once again, and it is a beauty from Lee Smith. Joel Skinner did not even get close to that pitch.
Yeah, that's going to get a few of them right there. So the Yankees down to their last one. Jay Buhner came in to hit for the first time back in the 5th inning. Also hit in the 7th, and twice against Clemens struck out. Pretty good rip by Jay Bird. He has big power everywhere. He can take you out of here to right center, center, left center. Cerrone once again to the outside, and quickly it's 0-2. Boy, it's a little tough hitting against that 6'6", 245-pound right-hander when you're 0-2.
Well, the Red Sox, they have been looking for a stopper out of that bullpen for quite some time now. They think they have one, at Lee Smith.
Just misses. McKean started to ring him up.
Yeah.
Saw a little flinch with the right arm.
And you can see John McNamara, he is flinching in the Red Sox dugout. He thought he had it too.
A ball and 2 strikes. Buhner protecting the plate. Nice job right there protecting it. Smith showing some good control right here. Staying away from Cruz last inning in that bases loaded situation. The big scenario of the game. And right here staying away from Buhner. Base hit. Right back through the middle. Got a breaking ball. Buhner went out and got it and hammered it.
Well, the Yankees are still alive, and Buhner hit a big pitch because it's a big one off of Lee Smith. The breaking ball once again. That's the same pitch. That's off of his, looked like it off his left heel of the shoe of Lee Smith. Bounces all the way into center field, but more importantly, the Yankees are still alive.
And Willie Randolph, the hitter. Willie 1 for 4 tonight. Had an RBI single back in the 5th inning. Buhner, pretty good lead. As the fastball misses in the count 1-0. Outfield spread out straight away. Romine in left, Burks in center, Evans in right. Up high, 2-0. So Willie's going to get a chance right here to get himself to sit on that number 1. He's going to get it. Johnny McNamara trying to get his club to the 500 mark. Red Sox with a record of 26-27 is Billy Martin. Trying to come back in this one with the Yankees to make them 37-19. On the inside corner, Willie taking it. Count 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. 4-3, Boston on top. Two and 2 as The fastball got in on Randolph. A little upset with himself.
Yeah, he swung at a bad pitch. That's not like Willie to swing at a bad ball up and in. And he just got to a point where he could not hold up, and he was a little bit mad at himself.
Hard hit, base hit. Right by Spike Owen. Buhner stops at second, so the tying run in scoring position. And Claudell Washington, the hitter.
A little spinning breaking ball. It didn't break like Lee Smith wanted it to. It just spun out in the strike zone, and Willie drilled it into left field. That's a second base hit for Willie Randolph in this ball game. There's no activity in the Red Sox bullpen right now.
Well, they don't have anything better than what they got out on the mound down in that pen as the pitching coach, Bill Fisher, out to talk to Smith.
The Yankees have a pretty good man at the plate right now in Claudell Washington. Claudell has come up with some big hits for the Yankees this year.
He has done that. And he has an opportunity to do it one more time.
I don't think I've ever seen Johnny Mack walk up and down the dugout like he has here in this ball game.
Here's Claudell. Buhner at second, Randolph at first. Washington 1 for 4 tonight. Fastball high. 1-0.
Well, right now the Yankees have out-hit the Boston Red Sox 10-9. But that's not the case. The case is the Red Sox still lead the Yankees 4-3 here in the bottom of the ninth inning. That's the bottom line.
Right on the outside corner, a nice pitch by Smith. 2 balls and a strike to Washington. Obviously, we talked earlier, regardless of what happens, we were both glad to see Clemens make an exit.
No kidding.
Good rip by Claudell. And the count evens at 2.
Well, we saw Johnny McNamara in the Red Sox dugout with his legs crossed. That may be for good luck. That's the first time he's sit down in that dugout.
Maybe for one other reason, too.
That's right.
Claudell cutting and slashing, fighting hard. The massive right-hander, Lee Smith, pumping hard. Once again out of play per day. And certainly in the scheme of things, as exciting as this ball game has been, this is a much bigger ball game for Boston. It is a swing of 2 games. There are 9 back now. It'll either be 8 or 10. That's into center field. Ellis Burks has room. Makes the catch, and the ball game is over. In a very exciting game here at Yankee Stadium tonight in the rubber match of this 3-game series, the Red Sox win it 4-3. Right now, let's go back to our studios and join Lee Seidman.
Thanks, Hawk. Coming up, the complete Major League wrap-up with New York Sports Nightly.